What's up with you, man? How you doing? Can't hear you. Got you.
I'm
Thanks.
doing fantastic, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. You might want to check your mic. It sounds like it's coming out of your computer. Welcome everybody to our Sunday town hall. My name is DMAC, last name Uno, as in Spanish. I'm a U.S. citizen at the moment. This is Wesley here in the building. We do this every Sunday. Hope everybody had a good weekend. It's been pretty eventful here in the media. Are you good, sir? Take your time. And, this show, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. I'm doing side work over here, so don't pay attention to me at all. There's been a lot of things going on. I want to talk to Wes about the 4 missing soldiers still that we haven't found or seen in a while.
I've been wanting to kind of keep up with that as well. What have they said about it? Have you heard anything new?
No, they're kind of keeping it under wraps. Everything's just been on the hush. They haven't said anything about it. They said the most thing that they've talked about so far is that they found the vehicle that they were in submerged in water, but they haven't found them. So you can think of the soldiers have probably tried to get out the vehicle, or
I think we want to add it to the can we add this? Can we add the Facebook page to this?
What do you mean?
I think you added yours instead of the
yeah, my bad. Let me do that. My apologies.
Are you good?
We don't want that, sir. There's a lot of clicking. Let's take that one out.
You said so they didn't even they haven't even this is kind of crazy because they haven't even come out with any new information regarding who or what's even happened. So it kind of makes me feel like they just don't want people to know what happened. You know what I mean?
I don't think he wants anybody to know about. I don't think he wants to know, or he wants anybody to know about his troops missing. So. Thank you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So that's one thing. There's been a lot actually happening this week other than just that, but that was going on the Lithuanian border. There was a NATO drill they were having on the Lithuanian border with Belarus, and they were having some type of a NATO drill. I don't know exactly what it was, but I know that, obviously it was a bunch of European countries along with ourselves having some type of war games, kind of a drill. The 4 soldiers were in some type of armored Humvee, and I guess they found it submerged in 16 feet of water. I'm not sure if they found the soldiers or what, because they're acting like
they haven't found. Yeah, they're keeping it pretty. My bad to cut you off. They're keeping it pretty hush. Let me see if I can find anything extra on it. Because if there were at first people were like, hey, they were killed. Lithuanian soldiers missing. Then they had to make NATO come out and say, no, I'm saying they're just missing. We don't know where they're at.
I mean,
and so it's still a mystery. And then, he didn't know anything about it.
I mean, if they're not giving out any information, I wonder if the families know who's missing. That would make me sick to my stomach to not know if I had family in the area, if I don't know if they're missing or not, or what's going on with them. You found the Humvee. This is an armored Humvee, and it's upside down in 16 feet of water. Like where the doors close. I mean, this is a pretty hard vehicle to get in and out of. How does this work? So, that's kind of what I'm thinking of. More than likely, they're probably deceased, I would think. Because the first thing NATO came out and said is they were deceased.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Pete Dog says soldiers went missing on Tuesday during a training session in Lithuania. Their M88 Hercules armored vehicle submerged in a Pete Dog during exercise. It was found more than 16 feet underwater the next day. However, none of the 4 soldiers have been found yet. So they got out. They got out of the vehicle.
So were they captured? Then
they're either dead or they're captured.
I I think that's going to be a tough one.
And the most common, the most current research on it or article is basically they talked to the wife, and the wife was like, "Yeah, it's my number one fear because I don't know what's going on." And you know, our government right now, this administration, they're not trying to be as transparent as the other ones. You know, this should be front page news. Well, I mean, depending on who you care about.
They've definitely talked about transparency, but they haven't really lived up to it, I would say. You know, so I'm not really understanding what's the big deal on them at least divulging the information. Hey, the soldiers are missing right now, or whatever the case may be. Because I think that if they were killed and they were killed by Belarusian soldiers, this is a problem. This is a problem, and it goes back into the same thing with Russia and everything else, because Belarus and Russia are allies. That used to be a former Soviet bloc, Belarus. So that's definitely going to be an issue. But like I said, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're dead or not, so I really can't say. I mean, maybe they just went missing. Maybe they went AWOL. Who knows? Maybe there's just too many different possibilities that we really don't know the answer.
I doubt they went AWOL. That just doesn't make any sense. That is true. And I mean, I don't believe former soldiers would just go AWOL in the middle of training. Well, because they talked to one of the wives. You know, that's the article. Okay. She's like, "Yo, he's missing," and they haven't really given her information on it. And besides, like when soldiers like that go missing, like that should be front page news, wall to wall. The reason that it's not is kind of troublesome. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that hasn't been wall to wall news. I mean, I'm talking to people, I'm telling them about the text message scandals that are going on, and they're like, "What? I didn't even hear about that." And I'm showing them the text, and they're like, "This is the most crazy shit I've seen in my life."
That's correct. I mean, I think a lot of us just don't really pay attention to what we pay attention to. So it's normal. You know what I mean? It's normal that people wouldn't know about it. I mean, and when you think about it, people will blow that off. You know, they'll just blow that like, you know what I mean? Who cares? You know what I mean? They won't really think that that's a big deal out there. They'll downplay that a lot. You know,
it's kind of crazy how they will downplay it. But I mean, depending on what political party they actually root for. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's neither Democrat or Republican, this situation. It's more of a national security thing. You know, because at the end of the day, all their information was leaked online. They were traveling around using Signal. Some of them were heading to Russia, somewhere in other parts of Europe.
Explain what Signal is to people, so people actually have an understanding of what.
So Signal is basically like Snapchat for cheaters. People can go on Signal, and then you can have the messages erased. And people used to use Signal to go cheat on their spouses or whatnot. So, you know, it works out. And so basically, what they're doing is, and the reason they were using Signal is because they didn't want they didn't want to be subpoenaed, you know, because the information, they're using their personal phones, and they were talking about the attack on Yemen, you know what I'm saying? And so the reporter, so what they did is they tagged a bunch of people in it that are in the administration, but you know, Pete Hegseth or whatever, he tagged a reporter from the Atlantic, and this is the newspaper in America. He must have unwittingly done it or whatever, but like when he did it, you know, they were texting him about bombing Yemen. And now, see, the war plans could have got out to, you know, Russia, because their phones ended up getting hacked. You know what I'm saying? They put all their information online. They even were talking about Pete Hegseth, that he has a Russian email, you know, and they're still trying to like verify it and stuff. And they're like, well, that's fake. You know, he could have made one here and done this and done that. And
did you? I mean, one of the guys was actually in Russia. Like one of their, you know, one of the security advisors was in Russia, and he was on this thread. And so him being there makes it so that he's actually you got to connect your mic, I believe, so that he's actually he can be more easily hacked. If he's in Russia and a signal goes through there, they can more easily hack all of his stuff. So that means they're going to be able to hack into everyone else who's in there. Everyone was on this email thread. You got Pete Hegseth was on this email thread. You got Adam. How you doing, Steve?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Steve.
Good. I mean, it's tough. This has been a tough week for you guys. I don't want to start it off.
Me.
Hey,
you guys.
This is your administration in office right now. If it were this Biden's administration, and I was a pro, which I was pro Biden, still am.
Sorry about that.
Say, I thought he had a great administration.
Wait, I heard he wants to make another run.
He won't be around that long, I don't believe. I don't think he's going to make it 4 years. I hope to pray to God he does. I don't ever wish anything bad upon anyone like that, but I don't think he's going to be around in 4 more years. I don't think Trump might not be around in 4 more years. The way he's, I don't know. He's not looking.
No, he's going to be around. He wants to be around for another term. He said.
Yeah, I've heard. I mean,
he's serious about it too.
You'd vote for him for another term, wouldn't you, Steve?
I wouldn't. No, I would not.
Oh, I don't know about this one.
I'm a fan of the 22nd Amendment.
Yeah, okay, I got you. I mean, what would you think if he did actually run for another term? He made it so that he could.
Well, I mean, okay, so there is one way he could do it. If the Republican wins the next presidential election, they could just and he becomes vice president. They could say, "All right, I'm out." And
I wouldn't see anybody going in power.
JD Vance would do it.
You think JD Vance would hand him power?
Yes.
I don't think JD Vance actually likes Trump. I don't think he really does. I think deep down, JD Vance doesn't really. I think he puts up with him, and Peter Thiel has kind of groomed him.
Oh, I mean, Obama didn't like Biden. Obama didn't like Biden. I mean, that was obvious. It's still didn't like him. But I don't think Biden liked Kamala. So I mean,
wow, that's a tough one. It's messed up. I don't think he didn't like her after the fact of she helped usurp him. I think before that he was okay. From my personal observation, I don't.
Well, maybe that's possible. I'm not. We're not in the know.
I remember when actually during the 2008 they were running when they had a campaign and they asked Biden, "Do you think Obama is ready to be president, is fit to be president?" And he said no. And if you watched Obama's head in his face, I think he kind of knew that this was the guy that I'm going to probably have to use for my vice president. And when he said that on stage, he was like. It's like he dropped his head. I watched that happen, and so
I remember what was he, a sophomore congressman? Is that he had 2 years in Congress?
I think so.
Before he ran for president.
Let me see. I think he was in there since 2004. No. He had 4 years. Because in 2004 he was already. He was in 2004. He actually had I believe he had already. I want to say 4. I may be wrong, but I think he had already been senator of Illinois. Remember in 2004 for John Kerry's.
Yeah.
He gave the speech at that point in time. He gave the keynote speech or whatever that was. So I think he was already. He wasn't organizer at that time.
A U.S. citizen, right?
No, we're not gonna do that. I'm not gonna let you get away with that. Because the only people all right, this is a Trump thing right there. Seems like but I think people really believe that. People really do. This is another thing I wanted to talk to you about too. It's like
go ahead.
People are very, very. Why is the right now so conspiratorial about everything? I mean, you can't talk to them without it being, this isn't true. That's not. I had a person I was talking to the other day.
Okay. Well, you don't think that happens on the left?
Absolutely, but I mean, I think it happens more.
I mean, look at Hillary Clinton for years. Was saying it's a right-wing conspiracy, a right-wing
about Russia, correct?
Oh, everything.
I mean, I'll give Russia. I don't remember
before Russia. It was when she was Secretary of State, and prior to that, when they were going after her husband, it was a right-wing conspiracy.
Yeah, when they went after him for the. Are you talking about for what he really did when he? I mean, that's there. Maybe that's but that was true. He just was lying to her at the point, and he just was telling her a lie.
Well, she knew what was going on. Come on,
she wasn't doing it for him.
No.
Hey, but no. What I'm saying is this right here, though.
I do understand where you're coming from. My opinion on that is. I think in Washington, D.C., you have so much back channel movement that people just don't see, that people start making theories about what they perceive is going on, and therefore there's your conspiracy. I don't necessarily think there's a cabal going on in Washington, D.C. I think it's, we are so divided as a country. People look for the smallest little thing and make that mountain out of that molehill. It's gotten to the point where we, as you being on the left, me being on the right, people can't come together and look at each other. Well, yeah, no, you're not center.
Anyway. He said you're not center, D-Mac. That's what he said. He said you're not center.
I don't think you're. I mean, you might be.
I think he's center left. I think he's more center left. I think he's center left.
Closer than you.
He's a lot closer than I am. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. He definitely.
I think Washington's so broken. And it's.
I think I'm most in the center.
Do you
I
really?
think Washington's so well. No, he has sided on me on some things, so I might have
Yes.
to give him that one.
He's like here.
But I'm not a far right radical.
No, you're not a far right radical. You're not.
I'm not a far right guy. I never will be because
I'm not a far left guy either, though. I don't think I am.
You said you were very progressive. That's far.
I'm
left.
progressive. That's that's like super liberal. Like I think super liberal is like far left. I think.
You're not super liberal. Is that what you're saying?
Not about everything. I think that I believe in gun rights.
I think
believe,
the far left. I believe it's like the far right are more. They're heavy conspiratorial, and the far left like to play make believe. If you get what I'm saying, like.
And I think
that's actually a very good point. That's a good way to look.
And
at
I can't even deny that. I can't deny that.
That's us in the middle, and we're just like these people are crazy. We just want lower gas and affordable things.
Like I've said this before. I had a political science professor years ago tell me that you start in the center, okay, but politics is a circle. By the time you get back around, you're a radical left and a radical right, and they meet at the same point.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, I think that's the way it looks like, because you take far right people that want to cause issues, right? Well, they're the same as the people on the far left. They just don't have the same issues, but they act the same way.
The violence, I think, from the far right is, I know you're going to bring up Tesla burning cars, but not killing people. You're not killing people. I got that from a friend of mine today. They're
who are the far right killing?
Oh, okay. We can talk about the Capitol. They killed the officer at the Capitol. He was killed there.
No, they did not. He did not die.
He died days later. Okay. Died days later. But he had his face from a. Okay, then the lady who died there too. She was one of them, but she died there. I got a few more too. Go ahead though.
They tried to assassinate the president.
You talking about with Black Lives Matter protest?
Yes.
I don't know how many people were really
killed. They tried to burn down
that.
the federal building and they killed cops.
I don't know about them killing cops. I can't say I don't know if they killed cops. I didn't hear about that. But
if they killed a police officer,
I think they know about that. I would say people out there, but that's like that's protest and rioting. Go ahead, one more time.
And Kamala Harris tried to get them all out of jail.
I think that during that time, I think that was a rightful protest. I think
it's never rightful to have violence in a protest. Period.
Well, sometimes actually, Steve, you kind of have to.
And the people on January 6th are wrong too. But violence is not the way to protest. Did MLK promote violence during his?
No,
they got the brakes beat off him the entire time though too.
Yeah, Martin Luther King got beat up, right? And then at the end of
savages.
But at the end of his life, he realized that he's like, I led my people into the furnace, because he thought that if he showed that they were nonviolent, the people, they would show him empathy. But he realized he was dealing with people that weren't showing him empathy. And so for me,
you're
Steve,
right, because people are assholes.
So I'm not the kind to march, like, what I'm saying, my family marched and all that stuff. I'm more like you say, I like to burn. I'd rather burn and pillage. Because violence works. This is America.
The country was founded on pillaging and burning and throwing
stuff.
We
understand, yeah.
It was founded on that.
What nation isn't?
Look at Buffalo. Look at what happened in Buffalo with the Buffalo shooter. Look what happened on New Year's Eve with both of those attacks on New Year's Eve. Those are both far right.
Trump tried to get assassinated twice.
Try to. I don't think it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Far left.
No. The guy was both. None of his ear was missing. You know this, like I noticed that with the type of rifle they said they shot him with. There is no way he came out with nothing at all. He had none of his ear was missing. Nothing. It was like not even a scratch. You saw this, right?
Why was he bleeding?
Like I said,
himself? Oh, Wesley.
I don't know. Like I said, but I think the guys from the teleprompters got him, because the other people who were shot dead on, headshots and whatever else was hit with. They were killed immediately.
Well, he was shooting into a crowd, so yeah, they easily could have gotten a headshot. You're shooting into a crowd.
So are you telling me with the type? I can't remember the type of rifle it was, but kind of bullet. But the type of bullet that I know that was, there's
an AR-15.
He's getting away with a scratch from that distance. The type of velocity,
AR type weapon.
He's so old. he would still have the scar on his ear. That's the whole thing. It's like
an AR bullet. Well,
it's a 22 extended.
A cartilage on the ear is going to heal. I mean, he could have a scar. You just don't see it. You know how he likes his
ear.
can
It would have ripped his ear off. It would have ripped his ear.
He got hit with a piece of the teleprompter.
See, an AR style bullet, a 5.56 bullet, when it hits its target, will tumble and come out the other side with a big hole. But if you're just clipping somebody and it just bypasses, it's going to take off part of something, yes, but it's not going to rip his ear off.
Okay, now that's what I'm saying. But something would have ripped off a nice chunk of his ear, nice chunk of the piece of art that he had nothing missing at all. I'm not saying he wasn't. They didn't try to assassinate him. I don't know, but it didn't look real good. When I look at the ear, to me, for the patch he had on that ear, for the the gauze he had over the top of that ear when he came out during the Republican convention. For the you saw that. He played that up more than anything I've ever seen before in my life. He played that up.
You know who you're talking about, right? Yeah, Mr. Apprentice.
I got you. So I mean, let's go even further into things that he's doing right now in his administration right now. Okay. I know they just got rid of $500 million. I'm sorry, for food banks. They froze it. $500 million that's going to go to all the states for their food banks. So that's kind of that's something that's going to really help people who are middle class, upper. I mean, whatever the case may be. Helping them to eat. On top of that, they got rid of $1 billion in like funding for schools that were buying food from local farmers and farms, to kind of help supply schools with food, but it's also helping local farmers if they're because those guys probably don't have ends with huge grocery chains and whoever else. So this was a kind of a reciprocal giving kids healthy food, but also sourcing it from local sources as well. Cut that off as well. I mean, where are we going with this? I mean, you got Florida right now trying to give not to make it a too many part question, but you got Florida right now trying to cut the age a requirement for workers. They're trying to cut it down to 14. I don't know if you heard about that or not.
I read about that.
14, man. They said they can work until late into the night on school nights or whatever else.
I got a paycheck at 14. What's wrong with that?
I did too from a paper route. From a paper route.
I don't see a problem with it. I don't see a problem with it.
Why they said this wasn't just for homeschool kids.
Why can't you work at Burger King? I used to work in an ice cream joint when I was 14 years old till 11:30 at night.
But do we? Let me ask you this. So let's say that I know but we have to look at life like this. Okay, I remember I had grandparents, people in my life say, "Oh, we walked 5 miles to school when I was a kid." Do we think that just because that happened then, that we should continue that same kind of like that tradition now?
Yes.
Yes. Technically, my son was begging me for a job at 14. He's like, I can't wait till I can work.
Kids these days are soft as hell.
Yeah.
Period. And we've made them that way. Our generations have made them that way. Because how many kids do you know that sit there on social media all damn day, don't get off their phone, are lazy? We need kids to work and learn how to work hard, because if we don't, what the hell are we going to have when they get older? Nothing.
I think it's called growth though too. At the same time, we don't want to see. A lot of people who had parents back in the day, like there's people in my family who worked on farms and had their kids working on the same farm with them all throughout the day. And whatever else. But they were working to get their kid to get into college, so they didn't have to do the same things that they were doing. That's called growth. I mean, we've gotten ourselves from being more of a rural kind of a country to being more, where we have like tech jobs and other things that we can do where we're not just working with our, necessarily working with our hands. I think it's growth.
But a 14, 15-year-old's not going to get a tech job. Okay.
They're going to work fast food and stuff like that.
I mean,
they got to start somewhere. I'm
not going to trust a 14-year-old to make
kids working.
14-year-old kids, I think 16 and up has always been normal. That's always been a normal age for kids to start working. 14-year-old kids, 15-year-old kids.
I started working at 11 years old. That was my first job. I had a paper route. And then I worked my way up, Playground Express. And, I've had different, it makes sense now because the child has to kind of work now anyways, because, everything's too high. You know what I'm saying?
I think me personally.
Some families do need it. Just like back in the 1800s, early 1900s. Until child labor laws came out, kids worked all the damn time.
I don't think, listen to what you just said, until child labor laws, like, because they understood that, you know what, education is primary. And now we're starting to, we're taking it from a
But
perspective
those kids were 7, 8 years old working in factories.
okay, well, even
That's
14 years old, there needs to be,
14, 15 working at a McDonald's.
I think that 14 and 15-year-olds working at McDonald's is like, that doesn't make sense to me. I think we need to be, we are taking focus away from education and we're putting it back into,
a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old working at McDonald's.
What's the difference? I mean, let's say the same thing when we start talking about other subjects as well too. Then we might as well take that across the board. Then, if you want to take that across the board, at some point in time, it has to be age limits about things, right? Because we can say, when we get to that, when we get to that point, we should say, what's the difference between a 16 and 17-year-old? What's the difference between a 17 and 19? You know what I mean? At some point in time, there has to be a cutoff mark, right?
Okay, 17 and 18-year-old. Usually, 18-year-olds are out of high school. Most. At that point. So now they're of legal age, 18 years old. Okay.
But you're making,
I think 14 is a good year for somebody to work. I don't like some of the stipulations in there because they're saying you don't get a mandatory lunch and then you can work them till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. Those laws are pretty crazy.
This is what they're coming with. 11:30 at night on school nights.
I did that in the 80s. I don't understand why it's different today.
Time was hella different back then. Now they do more studies. They know kids need lunch. People need lunches. We have laws and stuff. Like, think about you kid working at McDonald's. Well, McDonald's is a shady place to work at anyways, because depending on which one you work at, when they're not busy, they make the employees clock out and sit inside the lobby. And
well, if you look around your house, it kind of tells you the difference. Or all of us, we look around our homes, it tells us the difference. When I was a kid, cable was a huge thing. Like, oh my God, you got cable. I mean, now it's like people don't even want cable no more.
Now.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's we've advanced. We're becoming a more advanced society. That's just why things change. That's just part of it. And
kids are supposed to be more mature and smarter these days than when we were kids. I mean, more mature technology-wise, they're way smarter than we were.
Way smarter, and that's I would say way smarter, and way more advanced too.
Yeah, and that's why I think you got to give that a chance.
We were maybe tougher as far as like we scratch our arm and didn't cry because people weren't letting us cry and stuff like that. But as far as mentally, what they know, what they understand, they're way past us. We were sheltered. We were very sheltered.
And we didn't have the technology either.
Yeah, we drank out of hose waters, and now the kids be like, "Ugh, there's bacteria. I can show you all 20 of them." And they whip their phones out. You'd be like, "Oh, I guess we should get out of there."
And so, to me, as a nation, when you grow, everything around you should grow. Like you should show that growth within your nation. You shouldn't want to keep people back in an arcane age to where, oh, you walk 5 miles to school, you're not tough enough if you don't walk 5 miles. No, the bus pulls up near their home now. We can afford that. Why not do that? Why not make things? Why not look at our education system and fix that rather than saying let's put you to work and make you tougher? No, let's put more of an onus on school, on education, and make that better for you, because that'll make us a better nation. I don't think a kid working at McDonald's is going to make him a better kid.
And how's that worked out? How's that worked out with education over the last 30 years? We are in the tank when it comes to education. We're not.
Yes, we're not. That's not a fact. That's not a fact. We're sixth in the world in reading and 12th in science. Sixth in the world in reading, because it's not. This is not a national thing. This is a state thing. States dictate curriculum, not the federal government. They don't.
I agree.
And we know what states who are lagging in this? We've got to talk about what states are lagging.
You're going to say the red states.
I don't have to say the red states. It's a fact.
I live in a red state. Okay. My daughter graduated in 2017 from the 5th best school in the nation. Okay. You can't, but they have good standards here in Georgia. They try to anyway.
But you got other states who don't. I mean, the federal.
You're right.
We've gone. Okay, we have the Department of
Education.
Education.
Should the federal government take more of a role in that?
Yes. Schools are going down because instead of learning, they're caring about the kids' feelings. The kids have to go to school. Like I know a lady right now. She's pulling her kid out of public school in Tacoma because they got gender neutral bathrooms.
Those are parents. Those are not. Those is not schools to me. These are parents. Parents are doing this to these people. I don't think it's a school. I think the school wants to teach our kids, but I think the parents are coming in there and they're mad about everything about their.
If they wanted to teach the kids, they wouldn't have taken them out during the 2020 COVID crisis. Because they had to follow the science. They had to follow the science and said kids are going to need to be taken out of school. And
would you have not followed the science?
Further with the kids.
That cost.
Would you have not followed the science as a teacher? Would you have not? I would have. I would have. I mean, to me,
they didn't follow the science. They followed what the union said.
let me say this. At that time, you know, what I mean, I had a coffee shop I was running at the time. I closed my coffee shop down, not understanding what this is. I'm like, okay, for a minute, you know, for a
You
month and a
didn't know
half.
what the science
And,
was yet.
and okay, and so when teachers deal with the most, I mean, as a teacher, you're dealing with every germ in the book. I don't even like to go to people's kids houses who have children because I know, I mean, you know, though they're like an incubator for everything in the world. They're drinking. Yeah, they're drinking. They're drinking. Exactly. They're drinking after each other. You know how we used to do when you're.
We have not realized
it. You don't put your lips on it. You pour it like this. But
we didn't know as a nation, and we didn't know Randy Weingarten made that decision to say, "All right, close those schools."
You needed to think about this. The flu spreads through America every year through the school system, undoubtedly every year. So if you have a disease like COVID, and when COVID first hit, it killed all those old people in the retirement homes. That's before we knew, but that's before we knew that these people had underlying conditions. All we knew was this new disease came in. It killed like 8 people in a week. So they're like, everyone's like, well, crazy. Let's shut the schools down because they know the schools are going to spread the germs more.
Okay, so why did they stay closed so long after we found out that younger children aren't going to be as effective?
The schools opened up the next school year. I think they opened up the next school year. You got to remember, COVID happened. COVID happened in March. I'm not sure. I don't have it.
Yeah,
our schools, they gave all the kids Chromebooks, and so they just did it. Actually, the schools.
Yeah.
When did they reopen? When did they reopen the next school year?
I don't think it was immediately the next school year. I think they went half a year in some places where they didn't send them back to school, and that set those kids back. Now the powers that be, the wisdom is saying that these kids were put behind by 3 years.
Right. And COVID did a number on all of us. If we think about, you know, I asked people that, I'm like, what were your plans before COVID? What was your life before COVID hit? Because I mean, that it threw us all off. Like, I think a lot of us have PTSD from that and a lot of anger, you know, because a lot of people were fighting it. If you remember that in the beginning, like, no, because everyone had plans to do something. But we also have to remember, we're like, 5-6 years deep after COVID. So it's easy for us to look back and be like, you know, they were stupid. They should have done this. They should have done that. But at the time, you know, everyone was like, hey, let's do this. Let's try this. Let's try to stop this. You know, we're trying to put things in place. So,
and the administration didn't handle it very well either. I mean, the administration we had in office, if they would have did a better job of handling, I think we could have mitigated it a lot better than what we did, but there was just no real guidance on it. So it just kind of ran roughshod. And what
kind of guidance are you going to have when you don't know what the science is?
Look at what Japan. Look at what countries like Japan did. Look at other countries did a much better job. China, even the country that it stemmed from, they did a better job of mitigating. They understood. Hey, shut down.
Well, that's because they if you didn't follow those mitigation standards, you were getting killed over in China.
Yeah. Oh yeah, China they were locking people in apartment buildings. They're like, hey,
you really there are a lot of other countries that they were not killing you. I mean, they're in Japan, they weren't going to kill you there.
But Japan's citizens like each other. That's the whole thing. Yeah, Japan citizens like each other, and they don't feel entitled. Americans are entitled. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone would. We shut down though. I think we're taking this. Okay,
no, Florida.
Yeah, we shut down.
You guys didn't really shut down, right?
Georgia didn't shut down. No.
Shut down, yeah.
But look, okay, Washington did. I remember riding around the streets, and there was nobody in the streets. There were no cars out. We shut down. He had the goodwill to do it. When California came out first and shut down, that's a blue state. He owned all the red states. All the red states listened to Trump. 110%. They were going to do whatever Trump said. All he had to do was ride off of the fact that California shut down. Okay, we're going to do this as a precaution for the nation. I'm going to take it as a president and take this as goodwill. We're going to have to close down the economy and because you know he could have took their steps and rode off of that. But how he did it, he made it like he didn't believe it. It's not real. He came out with the vaccine, you know, so it's
then he tried to double down. He's like, no, it's a hoax from the Democrats trying to make me look bad. I remember he said that. And then he realized it was real. And so he kind of just doubled back on it. But I mean, it was a big thing.
Nobody handled that well.
Nobody did. I mean, there was no way to do it, but
they did. Honestly. They didn't handle it well. I mean, you had Fauci, who we now know was a complete liar, coming out and saying the 6 feet standard was bogus. There was no science around it. So, I mean, how are you supposed to mitigate a pandemic when you don't even know what the science is? Because nobody had any standards on it.
This is what I'll say. And when you're the first person dealing with it, when you're the initial person dealing with it, there's no way the next person can mitigate what the problem that you caused. You know, there's no, if I were president first and I dealt with the problem first and I dealt with it the way he did, and you came behind me, it'd be very difficult for you to stop this forest fire once it's already spread throughout the nation. It's a difficult thing to do at that point in time. And then we're reopening everything because we have to, because businesses are closing down. They're not being able to reopen. All kinds of stuff's going on. You're having to do certain things. So there was almost no way Biden could have corrected that problem. Only thing he could do was mitigate the fallout from the economic side of it. That's it at that point in time.
And you know what? Putting money into the system, trying to give stimulus to everybody. It put us, and this goes for right and left. Both administrations
both ways.
Put trillions of dollars into the economy.
I'm blaming Trump for all this first, though. I'm blaming Trump for all this first. I have to, because he's the. I'm not going to have to do this if it's not for the fact of what you already did. I'm not going to have to do these things.
Do you want to blame somebody? Blame the scientists who lied to us about it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to tell you who I'm blaming. I'm blaming where it came from. Who made this? Where did this come from? You know, I think he took his own cue. Trump doesn't take cues.
It's the China virus.
China. You know,
China.
But let's talk about this new. Let's talk about this new thing here. So, like, COVID's over. Let's talk about this new thing with Pete Hegseth, man. Let's talk about this guy here.
Oh yeah, let's talk about. Let's talk about what's that thing called now? Signal.
I've never even heard of it before. You know, I had to tell me about it.
I've never used it. I've heard of Telegraph.
No, you're married, Steve. You better not.
What? No, I mean, I don't know what. I've heard of Telegraph, and I think it's something like Signal. Correct? Is it something similar to that? I'm not sure.
I think it's more like but
it's supposed to be secure because the Biden administration used it too.
But they said but they didn't. But you're not supposed to use it when have a person in your group who's in a foreign country, because they can hack it. If a message is sent to them through there, it can be hacked. Like, they had a guy who was in Russia during this entire thing, and they had him on the group chat. But the biggest thing they did wrong. What's going on, Juan? How you doing? The biggest thing that happened with this situation is that they put a reporter in this thread from the
by accident.
Yeah,
by accident. How many times have you ever sent a text to the wrong person?
You know how many times I've ever sent war plans?
My game was smooth for me to let that happen.
And they should even have the same telephone. Why are you using the same telephones where you have these people in these telephones that are secure, that you're sending secure? Like, I'm about to send you war plans.
Now,
these are war plans.
Before you go any further, I'm gonna say one name.
Go ahead.
I know you know what name I'm gonna say.
Hillary Clinton.
We already brought her up. Yeah.
So check it out. When Hillary Clinton did it with the emails, right? They dragged her name through the mud for years.
Phones.
Hey, he had to go sit in front of I think it was Congress for 4 hours and talk to them. Right? It was big news. It was a big scandal. So I mean, like, when she did it, it was huge news. We talked about it. And so now it's happening with this administration, and they're trying to brush it off. Like, Lindsey Graham came out. He's like, we're going to treat it as lesson learned. You know what I'm saying? And then whoever was in Russia, all that stuff that they put on there got hacked, and then they put all their passwords online.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Okay, so if that's the case, if that really happened, then that is a major blunder. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say one thing. How many American lives were lost that day?
None, fortunately.
Are exactly. Is that the litmus test that we're using for national security?
You're damn right. You're damn right.
How many Americans died from Hillary Clinton's emails?
Something like that gets leaked and it gets people killed because of it. That'd be even.
I think the fact. Okay, yeah, of course. That's okay. Then we're okay, that's icing on that. But I'm not gonna give that the litmus test, because that's I can leak all kinds of information.
What litmus test is there?
I think the litmus test is your national security, the national security secrets of your country. You're leaking them out. You're putting out plans. You're telling people.
What did they leak out?
Steve has a good point. No, honestly, heads should roll for this, but that makes a good point. Nobody is like, did you die?
But it doesn't matter. It does not matter. No, it's not about whether someone died or not. That's even worse. People
got fired after the 13 people over in Afghanistan died. How many?
So people should get fired because
your side said heads should roll. People should get fired because of what happened. But yeah, Biden
I think-
fired
I think-
no generals after that.
I think a disorderly kind of a.
Well,
I think-
Benghazi was an attack on
me
it.
personally, I
They
don't
just
think
attacked
that.
the embassy. They weren't attacking soldiers. We weren't at war. These people just rallied up and said, "Hey, we're going to go after the embassy," and they got a couple Americans and they killed them.
When
We
you,
can't
that's
stop that.
Benghazi.
That's chaos.
He's just talking about Afghanistan too. He's saying
yeah.
that basically there's 13 soldiers. I think it was 13 soldiers
13,
killed in our withdrawal from Afghanistan during the process of our
We had
withdrawal.
to leave sooner or later, and people died at the withdrawal of Vietnam too. We've been in Afghanistan since 2002. You know what I'm saying?
But the intel was there, and they didn't pay attention to the intel.
Yeah,
I mean, same thing in Benghazi. I think
The guy
same
even
thing-
said, "Can I
same
shoot?
thing at the
Can I
beginning
shoot?
of the
Can I shoot?"
Afghanistan
And
war.
then you get the go.
The intel was there. Like, we weren't supposed to be in Afghanistan or Iraq. You know what I'm saying? But we just ended up there. Nothing ever
But you
happened.
want heads to roll because somebody used a piece of equipment that got nobody killed. Right?
I look at it as incompetence.
exactly.
It is, but
We're
and I think
competence deep, and we're already making mistakes like this. I can understand if these were like seasoned, politicians, that would make sense. But he just picked people that are going to follow him. This dude Pete's an idiot. Why would you send that through and the thing is, they're sending it through
national
Signal,
security apparatus.
but they're sending it through
Why
Signal.
wouldn't you send that?
They're
on a
sending it
telephone that you have other people's numbers on. Why would
Signal was
No,
approved
they're
by the
sending it
White
through
House.
Signal, so the messages
Attorney.
they're sending can be erased, and so they won't have to be accountable to subpoenas.
so? But why are you using a device that has reporters or anyone? I mean, it could be your wife on there. It could be your a family member, whoever. There should be
Again, I'm gonna say-
devices used.
He made a mistake. It's not, I equate it to somebody sending a text to the wrong person and saying, "Oh, it was for so and so," because that's what it
crazy.
was.
I mean, I understand that's what it ultimately, when you look at it from that perspective,
Yeah.
but it was national security secrets being sent.
Correct.
That's a separate issue. And we can't, and I understand no one died, but where you can't use that as a form of like, oh, well, but no one died though. So I mean, you get what I'm saying? Because then that becomes the thing that makes it the litmus test of whether someone lived or died.
So
whether or
what
not
exactly
was wrong.
was leaked?
It was all the plans for them to bomb Yemen, but it's also there was no accountability.
It wasn't plans. It was stuff that was happening at the time.
No, it
had not happened yet.
Yeah, it hadn't happened yet. But it's accountability because they asked Pete. They're like, "Hey, this reporter from the Atlantic said you were texting him in this group chat." Pete Anderson goes, "Oh, he's a shyster. He's lying. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He wrote that whole Russia thing." And so the reporter's like, "I'll show you a piece of it because I don't want to give up national security."
That's not the one that invited him in there. It was Michael Waltz.
Oh, really?
Yes, it wasn't. It was the national security advisor that brought him in. It was not Hegseth.
But also, I'm saying when they
didn't know he was on there.
he was like, "Oh, that guy's lying. He doesn't know what he's talking about." And the only thing, I'm eating a burrito while I'm talking, y'all.
Yeah.
They were like, "Okay." And first,
Did you bring it up for all of us?
Yeah, of course. Here, just give me the address. I'm gonna mail you what's left. Wes can have the wrapper. There's more meat in there.
I get what you're saying. It was a mistake what they did. They handled it wrong. They're still handling it wrong, I think.
They're still handling. That's what I'm saying. It's like, am I supposed to? And right now, Donald Trump is threatening. He's like, if Iran doesn't take my nuclear deal, I'm going to bomb them like they've never been bombed before. And I'm just like, bruh, they had a nuclear deal. You took it off the table because you didn't like it because Obama did it. And now you want to force their hand. And Iran's like, they already told me, hey, do what you got to do, bro. We ain't messing with you. Ain't punking us.
I mean, and just the same thing with Ukraine, how they just told him, you know what? No, we're not taking your deal. We basically want to extort us. I mean, if we were really to talk about everything, I think that, we will sooner or later, we're gonna have to have this conversation, but this is like utter failure of an administration already. And I know we're only 3 months in, 2 months in, or whatever the case may be, but you alienated our northern neighbor, you've alienated our southern neighbor. Now they basically can, they're talking about, hey, our relationship is over. It's which I know hopefully can be healed with a new administration one day. And when that happens, but I mean, you're opening doors to them to go out and start saying, hey, let's bring China over here. China was already trying to get into Mexico heavy. They've already made major investments there, with
trying to get into Mexico.
They're already there, but you know what I mean, though. They're already there with manufacturing plants.
Their fentanyl is certainly there.
They're one more time.
Their fentanyl is certainly there.
I mean, it's not even their fentanyl. It's. I mean, did we not have, not just us, but everyone had opium in China? We forced them to take opium, not just us. We sent ships over there to help force them take fentanyl. I mean, not fentanyl, but opium. And so we know this is all facts. So this has been done to them already. I know you know about this time. It was at the 100 years of the age of humiliation for China, when they sat back and they told them basically, hey, you're gonna give us tea and you're gonna take this opium, or we're gonna blow you guys up and basically take your country over. This way.
Okay, I understand, Wesley. You're saying that we are ruining relationships with people. Okay,
our neighbors.
Those I get it, but they're also taking advantage of us.
Tell me in what way?
Okay, look at our trade deficit with the rest of the world. I mean, we're losing money hand over fist because of it.
It's
because
tough.
nobody in Europe wants to take an American vehicle, right?
Because we make trucks.
We make Chrysler. Or,
do you know why? Do we know why? Tell the story though. You have to tell the complete story.
I understand that they don't buy trucks. I get that, but we have other vehicles besides trucks that we can send over there. But they don't want them, and we're not forcing their hand to take them.
I mean, what they should be doing is creating plants over there and creating plans of vehicles that will work in those areas.
So you can have non-Americans working at an American company.
Yeah, that's what happens sometimes. We have non-Japanese people. They got Toyota builds plants over here to sell cars in our country. It happens everywhere. It happens around. You know this.
Yes,
and so
those. So why do we want business? Why do we want business in the United States then? Period.
Well,
if that's your theory, if that's your idea.
Of what? Of creating, of being a smart business and saying, you know what? I'm gonna build cars over where you're at that are specialized for you. I'm gonna build cars in America that are specialized for Americans. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense, especially when you have big trucks that Europeans don't drive around in 350s. That just doesn't make sense to them. It just doesn't work for them. It's just like in China, they're not driving around. They're driving around in electric vehicles and things that make sense for them. They're in traffic all day long. They be idling like crazy and wasting money.
I'm not saying we send a Ram 1500 over to.
But that's what we're making in America. This is what we're making. This is our number one selling cars here. The Silverados and things like that are number one selling here.
For Americans.
So
we also make other cars besides that.
So Tesla builds their vehicles that they're making in other places in those places. What's the difference?
For the moment.
Yeah, but they're still going to do in China. They have battery plants in China and everything else in other countries. What's the difference?
For the moment.
As a smart business, that's what you do. You know what I mean? It makes perfect sense. But what I'm saying, let me say this too. Those trade deficits will not change. It's not like if I'm a say I'm a country like, say, I don't know, name one of the countries we have a trade deficit, which is most of them. Let's just say Mexico. We're not making goods cheap enough for it to make sense for them to buy it from us. Why am I going to buy things from you that I can't sell? It just doesn't make sense. But that we're the number 2 exporter in the entire world is America. We're number 2 right behind China. So it's not like we're not exporting major. We're just export more goods than anyone else besides China.
My argument is it's got to be fair and equitable, right? Because that otherwise, why are we trillions of dollars in debt?
That's not the reason why, though. That's not the reason why.
I'm just talking about trade, just trade itself.
But that's not the reason why our economy is trying. It's more of the military. It's other things that are really pushing us into the crisis areas that we're in. We're a consumer nation. I mean, if you look at China, they're exact opposite of us. We're like 70% almost consumer based, 65-70% consumer based. The other part of it is basically what we export and what we manufacture. China's the exact opposite of us. That's why their economy is working the way it is. We consume a lot. That's our problem. We're based off of consuming. We have holidays that are based around them just basically taking money from people. This is who we are as a nation. It has nothing to do with the rest of the world. It's everything about America. We need to change the way we do business. It's not. I'm not against us making better trade deals. I'm against the way we're going about it. Bully tactics. That's not a good way to go about it.
It is a bully tactic, but in the first administration, he tried it and it worked.
With China, I mean, but it really did it work though, because we had to subsidize billions of dollars. And China kind of shifted kind of got smarter or based off of that, because right now it's not going to work again because they've gotten smart and they've shifted away from America as being their primary source of income. We still are a hell of a portion of what of who's buying their goods, but the rest they've converted their goods to being able to sell to the rest of the world. They got so smart that South America is really it's dominated by Chinese goods. Why are we not dominating there? Because we don't know how to. Why are we trying to?
Because we actually pay our people a living wage here. That's why.
Do we?
Do we? Yeah.
But do we?
How many slaves do we have over in China that are sitting there?
We don't pay our people a living wage. That's why everyone's worried about food bank and SNAP and stuff. That's
compared to the rest of the world, we sure as hell do.
I mean, but compared to the rest of we gotta look at
China, we do.
Cost versus
North Korea, we do.
But cost versus but we have to look at the cost factor too, because we need how much do our goods cost compared to what you can buy their goods for there. You get what I'm saying? Like those people who are. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The only person that knows how much people get paid in North Korea is Dennis Rodman, and he's not telling anybody.
There you go.
People in America, we don't. I mean, if you're lucky to get a good job out here, somewhere where you make at least $35-$36 an hour, like you should be all right. But everyone else making $18-$17 an hour, nah, it's not. We don't have living wages anymore. It's hasn't been that since George Bush's last 2 years. And I mean, that was like the last good time you could think about it, because now it's out of reach for everybody. That's why people are so upset with the food banks. We shouldn't have to go to food banks. We shouldn't have to go to, we shouldn't have to be on, people shouldn't have to be on food stamps and be concerned that people shouldn't have to be on Section 8. It's because everything's so unaffordable. You know what I'm saying? People have to do this because
and that's the thing. That's why you want to build in America. You want to add those jobs in America. You want people to come back to the United States to give Americans jobs.
Derp, I play Grand Theft Auto.
Do you think that? Do you really?
Why would you want to outsource? Why would you want to outsource?
I think. I mean, I don't think we. I don't think. I think that was a Republican. We both. I'm not. But seriously, that was a Republican idea. Outsourcing was based upon corporate Republican ideas to make more. How do corporations make more money? But at the same time, it's also helped the prices to come down on a lot of things, goods in America. Americans are.
What happened during Biden's administration where everybody went back overseas because he let them go back overseas?
Wait. He created more manufacturing jobs than any administration in recent years.
He didn't create jack shit. He went and got all the stuff back from COVID. No. He touted 14 million jobs that he created in 4 years. 10 million of those jobs were dashed because of COVID, period.
He created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. 800,000 new manufacturing. I've gone to plants that they've created jobs at myself. I saw it with my own two eyes, brand new plants that they've helped create jobs at. Good paying jobs, people. I mean, so I won't say that he's the cause of it. I think I think right now we're losing manufacturing jobs under Trump. If they're not gaining them, let's see if they come back or whatever the case may be. But I don't think it's going to make sense.
And that's why you can't judge that's why you can't judge after 3 months.
Our prices are going to go up on our goods that we buy. Everyone said it. Every major economist has said it.
That too. He said there could be some issues. He admitted that on national TV. And you know what? It may happen. And if that happens, then you change course and you try and change course. Nah, it's not. It's the.
Hey, it's nothing. It's nothing. You know what I'm saying? But hey, listen.
I'm gonna leave that one there.
It's crazy because if we really think about that, we're acting like we're okay with him raising cost of. They're saying vehicles get raised by $11,000. What good can come of that?
They're already expensive anyway.
They're already too expensive to begin with. Yeah,
they're hella expensive now for no reason.
So we got to buy a vehicle that no one can buy. No one can buy. So therefore, those jobs are.
I can't buy a Porsche.
No, the jobs will be gone too. So then you just ultimately
they're going to be gone anyway because robotics.
Yeah, the robots are taking them over.
So what are we doing then? So what are we? So you're just admitting
in the dark. They don't even have to.
Are we a nation of just car makers?
That's one area where every area that he's creating tariffs on. He's talking about steel, lumber, everything across the board. You hear this guy? They've had to temper him like, hey, maybe you should just do reciprocal tariffs. And he's had to step back. Look at the stock market right now.
Well, he's done that too. He's done reciprocal tariffs. I mean, that's part of his goal too. But
what's the strategy? He doesn't have a true strategy. He just said, I'm going to do something. So now he's going to say, now he's going to try to stick to it and get it done, even at the detriment of the country.
Hopefully make money.
Hopefully.
That's the way I see it. Hopefully get money coming back into this country and bring companies back into this country.
Are we not
That
seeing
money's
that
not going to go to us.
I
That's
mean,
the whole thing.
Apple's coming back. Apple's going to build here $500 billion, something like that.
Apple's been ripping their customers off for
not just
years,
them.
though. They're like, "Ooh, we put a new camera on the back, $2,000."
Hell, we can't even listen. As a country, we can't even get internet. Not one person got internet in 4 years. Okay, so we're still waiting on that.
I don't know anyone who doesn't have internet.
Let me tell you what our
anyone who doesn't have internet. Do you?
We're up here in Washington, right? In Washington, we all voted. The voters voted for $20 car tabs, right? Unanimously voted for $20 car tabs. Olympia was like, you know what? We're not going to give you that, and they pulled it back, and then they charged us $120 for our car tabs now.
You see this guy over here? I'm gonna take him off real quick. He's over here talking crap. He's talking super crap. He's talking super crap. Knock him off there. He's talking. I don't think he's talking junk though. But listen, the point of this, the whole conversation is this right here, and all BS. If we're gonna sit here and act like rising prices is a good, let's just see what happens. If that's what you do when you first come in the door saying I'm going to help out, but everything you're doing is hurting the country. You're just getting people to say, oh, I'm going to put up 1.5 billion in, or trillion, I'm going to do this. Where's it at? It's not, I don't think it's going to really come into this country. I think we already have the #1 stock market in the entire world by like almost probably 8 or 9 times the next closest one, which would be China. I think they're like $8 trillion, something like that stock market. We have a $52 trillion stock. It's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like the difference already is there for us. What he's doing is coming in and creating problems, messing up relationships, ruining relationships with NATO, our allies over there, everyone. I feel like he's doing it on purpose, man. No one comes in and say the same strategy that Putin used in Ukraine. You're not even a real country. You're not even Canada's not even a real country. I want to take it over. Oh, we want to take over Greenland as well.
Taking over Greenland. That's happening. They're taking over Greenland.
We're having Greenland.
We're taking Greenland.
We're taking Greenland. So how does that help us? I understand strategically. I understand the strategic side of it. I'm talking about from a strategic side of it as far as our relationships with our allies. How does that help us?
Think about this.
It doesn't really. It helps us strategically, but it also helps them. They have nothing there. Denmark hasn't done shit for them.
So you feel like this is a good idea for us to take land from a strategic.
No,
ally.
they're going to vote. They're going to vote to give it to us.
No, they already said they don't want to. 85% of them said no, they don't want to be a part of us. It's done. They're not going to vote. He's going to have to take this by force. Just like he's talking about taking the Panama Canal by force. After he sold it out, made them sell out the ports there to BlackRock. It's not going to be good for the American people. That's good for BlackRock. BlackRock is a multinational company. That has nothing to do with the American people. We know this, man. And now he's trying to basically privatize everything. How do we not see what's happening? It's just to me, I'm like, wow, like we don't see that they're trying to privatize education. They're trying to privatize they're trying to privatize the FAA. I mean, everything, airlines, everything. You know what I mean? Like,
well, America's always been for sale. That's just what it is.
It's crazy to me.
Are you a big government guy, Wesley?
I mean, when you say big government, so are we claiming?
Meaning the government should run anything and everything?
I think the government should run most things that they're doing right now, because we're doing it. It's a pretty decent job at doing it right now. I think the FAA should be. I think the FAA should be ran by the federal government. I don't think it should be privatized at all. I believe the DOE should be ran by the federal government, because I think that's why we have the best college system in the world, because most of the colleges get a lot of their money from the DOE. It's not high school K through 12. It's mostly colleges. That's why you can say, oh, she went to the 5th best, not to use your family, 5th best college in the nation, because that's the federal government giving them money as well too to help that be. We have some of the best colleges in the entire world or in America because of the money we put in from the DOE. So there's certain things they should run, but I believe there are a few other things they should run as well. Healthcare. I think they should education as far as curriculum. Yes, we need to do that.
Healthcare. So. You want the government to run your healthcare?
I think that, right now we're being charged double and triple as much as the next second. Do you want your government to know what's wrong with you? It's not to me, this is how I'm looking at it right here. If we're paying $7,000-8,000 a year per person on average, and the next closest countries like Germany, they're paying 3 or 4, there's a problem. There's a problem there, and they're getting the same results, if not better than ours. There's a problem there. People are going bankrupt from having to pay for healthcare for procedures. There's a problem. there. You know what I mean? We're getting basically they're getting over on us, man. The healthcare
We have the
companies,
best
insurance
healthcare.
companies.
We have the best healthcare in the world. Period.
I won't
Yeah,
say
you
that.
just
I won't
just
say
can't
that.
afford it. That's the
I
whole
won't say
thing.
yeah, exactly. And that's
But-
when
and
you're talking
that's-
about like the cancer, John Hopkins, those places like that. Yeah, okay, that end of it. But not when you're getting to just regular care. We have some of the worst results in the entire world. Go to places like Mississippi, other states like that. They have some of the worst results for like even like not the for Black women who have who are going through childbirth. Some of the worst results in the entire world are here in this country.
Okay, so we are a country in $36 trillion debt. Now, if you bring the federal government into insurance, how far into debt do you want to go, Wesley? 60, 70 million? Is that okay for you? Because that's where it's going to go if you bring healthcare into the government. It's because
I
you
don't
just
think- I don't
got
think
done
so at all.
saying it's so damn expensive. And regardless of who runs that, it's still going to be damn expensive.
I don't think so. I think that hold on, I'm sorry, I'm trying to I don't think so at all. I think that we already paid trillions of dollars already in healthcare costs. I think if we were to take it to the government, we could all probably pay a couple $100, maybe a few $100 a year. I mean, whatever.
Medicaid, was it Medicaid or Medicare? It's a drain on our
You know why? Because they're being
country.
overcharged. Because we're being overcharged. Because we're allowing companies to
okay,
charge
right there.
$400.
You're being overcharged. So, what's the best way to go about making sure people aren't getting overcharged?
You tell me. Who's going to do it?
You go in and you find out why it's being done. Who's doing it?
Who is the
That's
best people?
exactly
Who is the best group or person to do this right here though?
Somebody outside of the government.
If that were the
And
case,
I'll
they would
tell
already
you
done.
why.
They'd be
I'll
bought
tell
it.
you why. Because obviously the people in the government can't run the shit that they have now.
It's being done everywhere else around the world, though, Steve. It's being done in Canada. It's being done in Germany, other places like that who have
And it takes
who
6
have
months to go
socialized
see a damn
medicine.
doctor in Canada.
No, it doesn't take 6 months to see a doctor.
Yeah.
I think that we're
Go
being
talk to
fed.
somebody up in Canada.
I do. I actually have. They tell me that they have a great. I've talked to people in Brazil who go see doctors and stuff like that. They have socialized medicine. That's better than ours. They say if you pay a little bit, you get to see things. Things can happen quicker. If you want certain procedures done for you, you can pay a little bit and get it done. They have socialized medicine in these places, where they can get procedures done for free. These are poor countries. Poor.
I'm not going to go to another. I would never go to another country.
I'm not
to get
saying that we
anything
should
done,
go to another
because their
country. What I'm
healthcare
saying is,
system is shit.
what do you know that for sure? Do you know that for sure?
I go to Mexico to get my
Do
medication.
you, are we number
You
one?
can
Are
go
we
to
number?
Mexico and get your medication cheaper.
That's what I would do.
Are we
You go to
number
Canada,
one?
sure,
Are we number one in life expectancy? Are we number one in any of these things when it comes to healthcare? We're not. We're like far down the list. It's because of our food and other things too. I get it.
Because you're eating 3 burritos like D-Mac over there.
Hey, that burrito. Hey, don't talk bad about my burrito. That shit was delicious. That's from a genuine Mexican.
That's
hey,
why.
I only eat Mexican
that's
food
why
where the only
you're
person that speaks English is the person
Hey.
taking my order.
Hey, D-Mac,
So you
invite
don't
Chad
talk-
in if you have an opportunity.
Huh?
But listen, invite Chad in if you have an opportunity. Hey, but listen, I mean, the fact of the matter though is that our results are based off of the quality of our care. Period. That's what results are based off of. On top of that, it's the cost of it. They're just.
But that's
the
not
drug
why
com-
we're dying so early. It's because of the food we eat.
That
It's
too.
because of all the
On-
shit we eat as a country. How many
And so-
people in this country? We're about at 30% of the United States being diabetic.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and that's why people now we want to complain about who doesn't take our food from us. They don't want our food. They don't want things from us when they don't want any of our agricultural products because we're pumping stuff into it that they don't even allow in their countries. That's just a fact. That's
And
why.
and it's so bad that RFK wants to run Health and Human Services.
I heard he's about to get up out of there pretty soon. I heard my RFK might be on his way out the door. You hear about? I don't know much about the scandal, but I kind of I read like a little. I listened to like a little podcast on Candace Owens was talking about it. It wasn't conspiracy. It was actually something that happened. This is Candace Owens. She's a right winger. You know what I mean? She's talking about something that he did. My friend Chad's the one who told me about it. Kind of pushed me onto it. And he's a right winger. He's just you guys are birds of a feather. You know, he's right there. I'm telling you. I mean, seriously. So
I'm saying if you can't let the federal government run healthcare because they're going to run into the ground.
Wait,
I don't have
They do everything else.
it's
what did
already
he
in the
do?
ground. Go ahead.
What did he do?
I'm not. He did something with Candace Owens. I'm not sure. He's like had somebody. I'll have to ask Chad because I didn't watch the full podcast.
I
only
haven't
watched a
heard
minute
that.
of it. I
haven't
don't
heard
like Candace
anything
Owens
about
too much. It was hard for me to watch it. I'm gonna be honest.
I think I invited Chad into there. I think his email CAM.
Yeah,
Hopefully
I
that's the one.
I just don't like Candace Owens. I can't. It's hard for me to listen to her.
Yeah,
talk.
I can't deal with
But
her
she's
either.
smart though. She's smart. I'm gonna give it to her. She's intelligent.
How do you feel
No,
about
I-
everybody? How do you feel about Americans striking against Elon Musk?
They can strike, but I don't think they should be burning shit. Period.
Like I said, Steve, riots work.
You want to burn it down. I know you want to burn it down. You wanna-
Riots work.
I don't think people should be burning. My brother has. Like I told you, my brother has a Tesla. I'd be pissed if
Okay, let
somebody
me ask
touched
you
my
a
brother's
question.
Tesla.
How many liberals do you think have Teslas versus conservatives?
More liberals
Probably
have
3,
way
4
more.
1, right? So
Yeah.
basically, you're hurting yourselves by doing that.
By
Yeah.
doing what? By doing what? I mean,
by destroying Teslas because they're burning Teslas. They're shooting at
They're-
Teslas. They're
not.
The guy in Texas with the
Shoot
bombs
them.
all around the Tesla place. He's going to level the building.
Yeah.
To me,
Yeah.
we don't even know if those are completely, because to me, we don't even know if those are all liberal people or not. Because you look at it, who was the person who tried to knock out Trump allegedly? That was a conservative. Who was on the New Year's Eve bomber? Both of them, both conservatives. The first guy who clipped the ear, he was a conservative. That was a well-known fact that he was a conservative guy. He went. Come on.
Yeah,
I know you heard the same
He
stuff
was
I
a
heard.
Republican.
He was a Republican. That was
And
a Republican kid.
He was in a Black
He
Rock
was I think he was at once a registered Republican, but he definitely wasn't a Republican.
And what about the New Year's Eve bombers as well? Both of them, Republicans.
I don't know. I didn't
Republicans.
look
The
into
guy
their
blew up a Tesla. Whatever that was a Tesla
don't
truck
think-
right in front of a Donald Trump thing. He was Republican.
I think someone killed him and drove that Tesla.
Oh, well,
there.
he was that dude was just nuts. He
Oh,
lost his
man.
damn mind.
Everybody's lost. They're all crazy. So I feel the same way about the people who are
You have
blowing
to
up
be
the
crazy.
Teslas. They're
You
all
have to be
crazy
crazy.
too.
I mean, Wes, you have to be crazy to put bombs in the back of your car, drive
Absolutely.
to a Trump tower, kill yourself, and then blow up the truck. That's pretty
We
crazy.
have to look at our military is kind of they produce sometimes they go a
Some
lot
of the
people in
best
the
men and
military.
women in America.
Absolutely, but they have sometimes have mental issues when they're dealing with stuff. I'm not saying all. I'm saying they go through. There's a lot. Some of those guys have gone to war and had other. There's just stuff that they're dealing with. They may not have the mental health facilities or whatever to help deal with those people on. So that's the reason why I think it's not to disparage people who are in the military. It just happens more. It's like a boxer, somebody who's gone through a number of different.
Well, I mean, the death rate for veterans is one every 22
crazy.
seconds.
It's crazy,
Suicide
man.
rate.
It's nuts. I mean, I don't even know why. I mean, I can see it.
But
Are you saying veterans as far as people who've actually gone and served at war, or just people who've been in the military
veterans
as a whole?
period. Veterans.
Wow.
Period. It's like one every 22 seconds. Veteran.
Why? Why do you think that is?
War is hard.
Well,
It's
no,
No,
relentless.
it's not just war though. He said. It's
Life.
not just war.
Okay, so part of the issue is you spend 20 years, 30 years in the military. You are in a structured environment. You come out of the military and you now don't have that structure around you anymore. Things become much harder because you are having to now dictate your own life. Whereas in the military, they dictated it for you for 20 years. You come out and now you struggle because you don't know you don't have a goal to reach. You don't have a rank to reach. You don't have a job. You don't have, you become, people break down mentally and they go on live on the streets. Veteran homelessness in this country is ridiculous. But
And
yet
joblessness as well.
we want to worry about 11 million illegal aliens into the country and worry about them more than your own people.
I think that's the narratives that we tend to come out with and say are.
That's not a narrative. That's a fact.
That's
That's
facts.
no,
facts.
I'm
They're
not.
bringing
I'm not
those
saying.
stepping over the homeless, giving these people.
Yeah,
that can't even vote.
it's a narrative as far as it being that someone stepping over someone. It's a narrative as far as it being people who are worried about one group over the other. I think that when you look at the priorities of the parties, it shows you who has been the ones who have neglected. What I think a lot of times people on the right will love to say, well, what about the homeless in this country? But then you hear them talking so horribly. I'm not helping those homeless. You need to get a job. You need to do this, that, and the third. It's always a negative. Like they're painted negatively and not helped when you do have opportunity to help them. But then all of a sudden, when you have something else to blame it on, that's what they kind of shift the blame to. Oh, what about these migrants? What about the veterans then? I mean, you're not helping the veterans anyways when you have the opportunity. He's not doing it now. He hasn't done his last administration. He had an opportunity to do it. He didn't. I mean,
Biden didn't do it.
I think they're.
He worried more about illegal immigrants coming into this country than he did about his own people.
I don't think that's true at all. I think if you look at what his laws and things that he helped to pass were, they were for.
Oh, I'm not talking about you and me. I'm talking about people that are sitting on the street.
Okay, and I think a lot.
Gavin
go ahead. I'm
Newsom
sorry.
cleaned up San Francisco just because there was a Chinese delegation coming into the country. So he cleaned up San Francisco. Now it's all to shit again. People living on the streets, drug users, shitting on the sidewalks. And he cleaned it up for 3 days, and then it went right back to hell.
I think, I mean, when we talk about places, I mean, these are large communities of people. We have to look at it. I mean, I think we tend to say that these places are hell, but in reality, they probably have overall living standards are better than most of the country. Are in San Francisco are probably better than most of the entire country. Even the ones who don't have as much homelessness is because they're much smaller communities. They probably have way more drug use per capita than people who are in San Francisco have. They probably have way less facilities. I mean, I mean, now you want to look at it. We look at it from perspective as well as like Trump wants to cut all these programs, take money away from all these programs that people are putting money into to try and help these situations. He's cutting all these. That's waste, fraud, and abuse under his administration. So what are they doing to help? You know, like I don't get like we can't say, oh, what about these guys, poor these guys, and then not have a plan to help them. Just to point fingers at someone. Oh, you're helping the immigrants come in, but you're not helping the homeless. I think that's a regular kind of a right wing kind of a talking point. Not saying that you're using right wing talking points. You would never.
No, I will say this. When I look at what Doge is doing, and I have to kind of stand up for it in this way.
Mm-hmm.
When you run a business, and the government is a business, I don't care what anybody says, is a business, and you're losing money out your butt like crazy. It's just going out there, and we're getting nothing back for it. You've got to stop it at some point.
They're disingenuous.
You've got to stop it and figure out, where do we really need to have this money going, right? You slow it down, you stop it until you figure out where it goes, until you know that it's supposed to go to the right spot.
Those is disingenuous at best and liars at, for what it is.
Elon Musk just sold Twitter for 44 million, even though it's valued at
44 billion.
He fired the oversight people that would actually be the ones to hold him accountable for doing that. So for him, it's just a money grab. Someone's going to end up taking him out. I'm not wishing violence on him, even though it'd be entertaining. But I mean, whatever. Hey, one thing Elon Musk didn't realize is, and I tell you, I talk to Wes about this in private all the time. I was like, you don't understand how far Americans are willing to go when you take their job from them. They have nothing but time and anger on their hands. And that's what he's dealing with right now. There's not a safe Tesla driver in this country right now at all.
No, there's not.
Not at all. They're vandalizing these cars. They're going. They're tearing his whole stuff up. He was on TV almost crying, and I'm like, bro, you out here acting like a little pussy. Like, you done fired tens of thousands of people from their jobs for no reason, just because you think you want to cut costs so you could take the money. Now you mad because people is cutting into your bottom line. I'm like, well, what do you think is going to happen? You're from South Africa, bro. You don't understand. Americans are petty. We love it. We have nothing else to do but to watch destructive. That's why we like to watch action films. Kill them all. You know what I'm saying? Like, we enjoy your pain. That's just something Americans do, like, because it makes us feel better about ourselves. I'm like, at least it ain't me. So
I do think that, but at the same time,
we are a selfish nation.
We are
highly
selfish.
Very selfish nation.
I love America.
I don't think all Americans are selfish. I think I'm gonna go back to this again. Me personally, I think Republicans are very selfish people. I do. That's just how I feel, man. I feel like Democrats are not as selfish. I wouldn't say Democrats, more people who are more on the liberal side of things. That's not a selfish stance to have. That's like more for the people. Period. I think
the people that are centrist.
Yeah, when somebody
forces
you to call them a pronoun, that's not selfish.
That's selfish as fun.
You're
right. You're right.
I think that's a separate issue, though, too. Those are
like me.
Very small group.
We care about people. You have views on the right and views on the left that you kind of agree with, and some you don't. But when you get those people that are far left and far right, they only care about themselves. That's all it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah,
because I care about you guys. I
care about you too, Steve. I care about your well-being and your family. People on the right, the far-reaching wings on the front.
I don't want to see Wesley's car get blown up. You know,
I mean, I don't want to see that happen either. No one wants to see that happen, but I think there's always going to be people who you just can't control. I mean, you know, they're not in such groups of like what the 50,000 people who were at the Capitol on January 6th. Not in groups like that. I mean, that's a different situation. However, there's always going to be little fringe groups of people who you may not be able to control. When you're looking at the situation as with the people who they're cutting out the government or trying to cut out the government would only account for one day of the interest on the national deficit. That all the money that he would cut by cutting all those jobs would only help cut out one day of interest on the national debt. That would only pay for that. That's it. So they're being disingenuous.
It's a
one day of interest on the national. So look at the reverse. Okay, so say
so now afterwards, then you change the process. Let me ask you a question. Should the Social Security was it Social Security or the IRS? I think it might have been Social Security had 710 different types of software.
Yes,
710.
I can't say. I don't know if we know what all those things were for, because obviously the type of software that they're using, Pete Hegseth and those guys, they're using one, and look, and they didn't send a whole war plan to it. I'm just playing, but I'm serious. Maybe they should have had different devices for each play. You know,
a pallet of paperwork for one person's case.
The process can always be depending on who the person is. It depends on who the person is too.
But again, we are in the 21st century, Wesley.
I mean,
why are we still living like we're back in the 50s with all?
Well, the thing is, you should keep paper copies.
I thought you said we should live back like
no. You don't
said that earlier. You said that earlier. You should
keep paper copies of things because okay, for instance,
for yourself,
like, you should just have stuff so you can touch. Think about this.
Yeah,
I was talking about this earlier. I was sitting here, I know how to pirate things off the internet, so I'm not really bothered by it. But I was sitting here one day and it was windy and the internet cut off.
I didn't hear that. La 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 la. I didn't hear that.
But I'm saying it was windy and the internet cut off, right? And I was like, damn, I can't even watch anything. I couldn't watch anything. I couldn't listen to any music. I was like, damn, I've given up all the things I've owned for comfort. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like it's always good to keep stuff. And they said from the year 2022, I think 2019. They said most of the stuff, they don't even have paper copies for it. It's all digital. Somebody could just go in there and erase all of our stuff, all of our history, and all the stuff that we from that era right then and there. They can just erase it because there's no, copies or files of it anywhere. They're all online. So
paper copy, you back it up on a server, you back it up in a database.
So what if all those things are hacked or erased? Because we know that once we start getting into any kind of warfare, these things can happen. But let's say this too. I know that most of the IRS agents who they did hire, who they're trying to get rid of, were basically used to go through all the paperwork and all. Because when you're wealthier, people tend to know how to create paper trails to hide things. This is what they do. And so it takes more than just having one person. It takes rooms full of people to deal with sometimes certain cases. It just is what it is. That's how we
change the tax code. You won't have to worry about that.
I mean, who's going to do it? We know that Trump's not going to do it. He's not going to change the tax code at all. I don't think anyone's going to do it. I'm not going to just blame that on him. I think Democrats too. They're getting wealthy.
They all make money.
It is what it is.
Listen, this whole oligarchy thing that the Democrats want to push out there and say, oh my God, Elon Musk this. And so they were getting the same benefits 4 years ago because they were all supporting Biden. I mean, you got one of the biggest donors in the world in George Soros, billionaire. And you want to sit there and cry and complain about oligarchy? Come on.
Where is George Soros in the bill? I don't even see him on the top 20 list of billionaires. He's not even in. He just got some money. He's putting his money to where it. I mean, I'm not. Is Soros? Where's he from in the world? What's his background?
He's a Nazi, I think.
Is he a German Nazi? Jeez.
I mean, no,
he's
not.
For real, or are you just saying like, is you calling him a Nazi because you're calling him Nazi? Is he really German?
I don't know if he's German. I think he's Eastern European. He might be Polish or something like that. Maybe I don't remember. But I know he was touted to be, not a big fan of the Jewish state.
Is he?
I'm not going to say.
You say he's not a? Is he a Jew? I'm just asking. I don't
know. I don't know much about him. Except that he gives shit tons of money to the Democrats.
What is he? I mean, I'm gonna find out.
Look him up. Yeah. Is he Jewish? I don't know how much money he gives to him, but I mean, they always use him as the boogeyman.
Yeah.
And so I look at things like let me see. I look at things like that. I pay attention to stuff like that because that does matter. Yeah,
He's donated over
he's
$32 billion.
I mean, so we act like we don't understand. Yeah, he's Jewish. You know what I mean? Like, and so let's be real here. Let's just we just gave them the MOABs. We just gave them Trump just gave them some of those. We weren't giving them those before.
What's the MOABs?
It's the mother of all bombs.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah, he's from Hungary. Yeah, his family was part of the Jewish, Nazi internment camp, all that kind of saw that too.
Yeah.
So we just gave them these bombs are before they were getting mad because we stopped giving them the 2,000-pound bombs, right? But Trump just gave them the MOABs, which are 21,000-pound bombs. They're not going to be used in Gaza.
That's what I'm talking about.
They're going to be used on Iran. So Iran. So basically, he's gearing them up for war with Iran. So now he's a warmonger.
Well, do you want Iran to have a nuclear weapon?
Yes. Why not?
You know what? Honestly, you know what?
Why?
Iran
they can hit us?
No, Iran wants to have a nuclear weapon.
Maybe
like
so they can defend themselves.
So they can
defend themselves.
The world table.
I think that's what they're doing already. I think they've been. I think that
everybody wants to have a seat at the world table. I've never heard anything of Iran coming to America and attacking us at all since I've been alive.
I've heard of a million Iraqis.
Yeah, it's been Iraqis, Afghanistan's. I mean, even Israel's come over and attacked Americans. But I've never heard anybody from Iran coming over out here messing with us. The reason they want nuclear weapons is because everyone that has nukes are at the big boy table, the grown-up table, and everyone that doesn't have nukes has to bow down to them because they have the threat of nukes. If Iran gets the nukes, then nobody can really mess with them because they also have the threat now where it's like, I can nuke you back.
Pakistan got nukes. Pakistan, they're worse than Iran. I mean, not to say worse than I want to ever put people, but that's a rogue nation.
Who's the number one state?
Pakistan seems nice. They took care of that black lady that went over there
probably United States, probably probably Russia. I'm not gonna. Probably Israel. I mean, let's be real here. Let's be real. We say Iran because we hear about the Houthis, we hear about the Hamas, but these are all countermeasures because they're being attacked directly. They're being attacked. They've gotten their nuclear plants bombed. They've gotten their stuff hacked by America. They're being attacked. So they create this. This is everything. It's a fact, man. It's a fact.
It's not facts. That they're terrorists. That's a fact.
So it's not about. It depends who you're asking.
So have we been terrorists in the world?
What's that?
Would America be considered terrorist?
Yes. We are top-notch terrorists.
We killed a million Iraqis for no reason. A million. That's a lot of people.
We've
from a country with 33 million people. We killed a million of them.
War, baby. It's called war.
But that's terrorism. All I'm saying is this right here. If it's me and I have to defend myself, but I can't. I watched this Johnny Harris episode, right? I would love to go over. I know you're looking at me and you're saying like, but man, Israel has attacked American vessels. American ships tried to blow up one of our ships in I think it was in the Black Sea, tried to sink it because they knew it was us. They attacked and they shot it up and they killed some people, and they had tried to go back and sink it so that they could hide it and say that one of the Arab countries did it. This is a fact. It's a fact.
Yeah, they've had the people that were on the ship they were firing at us.
And we told them, hey, this is all factual. They have a place in I don't know if it's Arlington or one of those places that's dedicated to this. This is talked about. This is not a conspiracy thing.
No, I get it. Yeah.
So are they really? I mean, when they're doing things that they're doing, are they really our friends? That's why I believe JFK was. I mean, we look at let's be real here. Let's look at the facts of what's going on here. This is not conspiracy. This is. Come on, you know what I mean? Like we got to stop. I'm not against Israel, but I'm against actions that are not conducive to America being in a strong position. If you want to tell us, we're not telling you what our nuclear facilities are. We're not telling you how many bombs we have. We're not going to listen to anything you have to say. Why are we paying for you to destroy other parts of the world if you're not going to listen to anything we tell you to do? And Americans are paid for Gaza to be blown up.
Okay, so then why are we helping Ukraine? If you don't want to help Israel, why are you helping Ukraine?
I think that's two separate issues.
No,
I don't think it absolutely is. I think so. Are you telling me that Hamas is anything like Russia?
Do you want Iran to take over
Ukraine is defending their country while Israel is bombing to take over.
I've never said that. I don't think Iran's even trying to take over Israel. I don't think
them
Hamas
all wiped out.
I mean, but we saw them. We helped them out.
Okay, yeah.
We helped them. No. I'm not saying that's okay. I mean, in the 3-day war, they beat 5 countries. I was a 6-day war, 3-day war. You know what I'm talking about. Fight with our help. It was like 6 countries came against them. They beat all of them, and then they took more land from them. They had to give back with that the Sinai Peninsula, wherever that is right there, the Suez Peninsula. I can't remember. They had to give it back to Egypt. They took it from them. Let's not act like, I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like this is not even a war here. They're the bullies of the block over there. Israel are the bullies. They're the only ones with nukes anywhere in that area.
Because everybody around them wants to kill them.
No, they got Saudi Arabia.
So it's like this, it's in America, you can root for Ukraine or you can root for Russia, and everyone's fine with that. That's okay. You can do that. But when it comes to this other country, if you say, hey, free Palestine, you might go to jail. They're going to take everything.
Country. They're trying to kick the girl out the country.
They're taking people with visas out the country.
Snatched her up off the street.
One lady, she lost her visa because she wrote a opt-ed or whatever. Opt-ed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's this foreign nation has so much control in our country.
Over our country, man. They created a law. They tried to create a law where you could not even speak negatively about Israel and they passed it in the House. They passed it, but it became a point to where it would have been like it's unconstitutional because we have freedom of speech.
It was so vague that you would have to get rid of the Bibles in America because it was so vague.
Yeah.
But it passed.
This is nuts, man. Like we get to that point in government where we have. I'm not against Israel, but I am.
Let me ask you a question though: Is anti-Semitism okay? Is that where you're going?
I think racism. No. I think so. Once you go down that route and start using that terminology, not saying that you start. I think everything turns into that terminology, and it's not true. If I say that I don't want you to kill kids in Gaza, that's anti-Semitism. No, I don't want you to make it so that they're getting. I forget the name of the disease that they're getting right now because they don't even have running water in Gaza. They're killing these kids. They kill over 50,000 people in Gaza. That's anti-Semitism. No, that's me saying, you know what, man, maybe you shouldn't you lost 1,200 people, even though every 15 feet, pretty much, you got armed guards everywhere, but it took you guys 12 hours to respond to this. Let's be real here. You had reports from Egypt. Everyone told you that this was going to happen on October 7th. You had the reports. You knew. Benjamin Netanyahu used this for his advantage. You know he did too. We know it. Well, that's just like he was going to stay in power. He was not going to stay in power if it was not for that.
But that's like America, like 9/11. They knew it was going to happen, but they kind of let it happen.
And the two things that we're saying right here, like, Zelensky should leave office during wartime when he's being attacked because they should have elections. But Netanyahu shouldn't, even though he's not being attacked by anyone right now. He's doing
they have elections every time
they haven't had one recently. He stopped the elections recently. I'm not, like I said, I don't think the people of Israel want him in power. Period. They don't. They've asked for elections. They asked, hey, let's get elected. Even Gantz, I mean, that was his defense secretary over there. He was like, man, we're fighting nobody. This isn't even, they can't even fight back anymore. We beat these people to submit. Have you seen Gaza? Have you seen the ruins of that? Come on, that's us. We paid for that. Now they want us to pay to rebuild it. That doesn't make sense to me. Period. I'm not for Israel being taken out. I don't want them taking the West Bank, and I don't want them taking the Gaza Strip. Leave those to the Palestinians, and you have the rest. I don't care. That's fine with me. You know what I mean? I that's what I like. I'm good with that. But
okay, but you have to have a government in place to do that, and you don't.
They do. The Palestinian Authority. The people of
that is the biggest line of BS I've heard you say today, because you know full well Hamas runs that government. Period.
The Palestinian Authority, PA? No, they don't run the PA. No. That's different. They run the government in Gaza. But let me say this: have you seen the marches that people in Gaza are doing right now? They're anti Hamas. The marches because basically these people are.
They're like, why they Hamas out of here because they're not liking them right now.
They've destroyed. Go ahead.
I mean, it's tragedy to watch what's going on overseas, and I'd love to actually sit here and care about it, but I have to worry about my own country at this point because I don't know what's going to happen next week. And then think about it, April 1st, in 2 days?
I do. I know what's going to happen next week.
Those tariffs are kicking
in and have a job.
Yeah.
I mean,
same. But in 3 days,
90% of the United States doesn't really give a shit about what's going on right now because you wake up, you have a job to go to, right?
I think many people. I think a lot of people do act. I think a lot of people do actually care. I think people are just misinformed. They just don't know. I think a lot of people just don't know because they're living their day-to-day life.
It's a lot easier to live in. I mean, I wish my life was fantastic before I started watching the news. You know what I'm saying? I had a great life. I'd go outside. I'd just be enjoying my day. I didn't care about shit. That was like, I'm just, I turned on like, who's trying to kill us today? You know, that's what you turn the news on. But yeah, a lot of people, you know, they said this when I was young, ignorance is bliss. And it is, because the less you know, the more happy you are. I talk to people all the time, and like I'll be like, hey man, can I send this message to your phone? They'll be like, nope, I use a flip phone. I don't watch the news. I got a flip phone. I don't do that stuff. And they seem like the happiest people in the world because they ain't got to deal with nothing. You know?
think that,
yeah, you two are the only two I talk politics with.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean,
I don't talk politics with anybody else.
I'll probably talk politics.
I talk the other people, man. I try to avoid it. I try to avoid people like, hey, you're that guy from that show. I'm like, nah, bro. Nah.
No,
Yeah.
in the streets I don't. I mean, I'm mostly online with people mostly because in the streets I don't. You don't find a lot of people who actually have real viewpoints in politics. They just mostly what they heard, they're going to repeat that, and then with no real facts behind it at all. So it's difficult to have those type of conversations. But even like, you know, how you just tried to slip in there about how Ukraine and equate those two together, and those are totally different situations, separate situations.
Why? Because you have
Russia is a superpower who's basically trying to. I mean, we're at odds with Russia. We all know we are at odds with Russia. They're definitely a super. As long as you have more nuclear bombs than we do, or anyone else in the world does, you are a superpower. You are definitely.
You're a superpower economically and militarily, and they are not economically a superpower anymore. Period. That's what makes you a superpower.
I think that. I mean, what they do. I don't think Russia has a lot of debt though either. Russia doesn't have a lot of debt like we have. So, I mean, when we talk about economics, they were able to save, I think it was $600 billion and kind of get them through a lot of this war they just had with Ukraine. Now they own America. They own us right now. You know, we look at our president and his policies and this administration's policies. We're owned by Russia. It's basically we've turned against all of our allies in favor of Russia. He just came out and said, hey, you guys need to pay attention when Trump's talking about taking over Greenland because he's serious about that. He can say whatever he wants negatively about Trump, and Trump will still just kowtow to whatever he wants to do. And we know.
Why do you think we would want Greenland? Ask yourself why we would want Greenland.
I understand. I'm gonna tell you honestly, I've said before already on our podcast that I am not against. I know that we need. I believe that we need Greenland too. I think it would be great, helpful to our nation. However, the complications that we would get from it would be catastrophic. That's what we have to think about. The complications.
What complications would there be?
NATO would never. I mean, people trust in the world is major. We were losing trust in the world just by turning against our northern and southern neighbors right now. You look at the South China Sea, right over in that area. There's countries over there who are looking at which side to pick. They're like, oh, do we go with China or do we go with America? We're sitting here.
Going to go with China.
They can't right now. I'm not talking about just them though, because they can't go with them. There's an impossibility there. You know why that is. Let's look at the other countries, Vietnam's and all the other countries that are in that area. That's a major shipping port area right there. We both know that, and so we need to have some type of control over that area. But when you start turning against your allies, other people are like who are on the fence. Not they're going to go with us because we don't know. They don't know where we're going to be in 4 years. Every 4 years, we'll switch up and we'll have a crazy guy like this who's willing to say that Canada's not a country and we're going to take over Canada and they need to be the 51st state and everything else. And Mexico will invade you and come kill these people in your country. We'll send troops into your nation. Come on, man. That's a crazy standpoint to take.
We could have a president that doesn't know shit, doesn't know where he's at.
We already had that. We kind of have it now. I mean, they're like, hey, there's 4 soldiers missing. He's like, I don't know anything about that. Like,
that was proven to be a mistake. So that's not even.
No. They said that the fact they said they were dead was a mistake.
Yeah,
they said that 4 soldiers that 4 soldiers went missing. Right now they haven't put out any new reports about it. They found their Humvee upside down in 16 feet of water.
Hey, who am I? I'm Joe Biden sitting watching 13 servicemen come off a plane. That's the difference. Okay.
I mean,
you want to sit here and say there's 4 soldiers. Okay, I get it.
I'm not knocking.
I mean, we can talk bad about Joe Biden because we've seen what he's doing, but right now we're watching the second term of Trump administration. You know what I'm saying? There's 4 soldiers supposedly missing in Lithuania. He didn't know about it when they briefed him. I mean, I don't know what they're telling him and what they're not. That's kind of.
But how's he going to know about it if somebody doesn't brief him? I mean, that's the thing.
He didn't know about it. He didn't
below him.
No, you got to blame it on him because he's the leader. You can't.
No.
When you're the head of this, when you're the head, everything. The people who you put below you
what happens every morning in the Oval Office? What happens every morning?
He gets up and talks before he goes and listens. That's the problem.
What happens?
He'll get up and talk before he.
he gets an intel briefing every single morning.
It though.
It's
he never
no, they read it to him.
Yeah, he didn't read it last time.
Brief him on it. But the thing is, unless somebody is telling him what's going on, he's not going to know that because
so who puts them in charge? Who puts them in charge? Who puts those people in charge? He does. He has say so over.
Yes.
So who's to blame? Him. If you got someone below you who's not taking, if I got to go places, I'm being asked a question every day and I don't know what the hell the answer is, I'm gonna be like, why the hell don't I know the answer to this right here?
Did Biden know where? Did Biden know where Austin was when he went AWOL to the hospital?
Austin, I don't know who that even is.
Lloyd
I have
Austin.
no idea. No, what I do know is that Biden helped Biden's economy was better than Trump's right now, and his first term, Biden's economy, even though
you're just glossing over it. Has nothing to do with the economy. We're talking.
I mean, we're
military briefing for soldiers, and you're sitting here telling me that
I'm not. Listen, I'm not.
Over that.
I'm not the one who said for soldiers, I'm not the one who said for soldiers and equated that to 13 people. I didn't say that. I didn't say what he was. The point
I did because it's true.
The point he was making was that
you can't be hypocritical about that.
I don't think. Okay,
your man did the same damn thing. He sat there watching 13 people come off that he got killed.
That's two separate things. That's separate.
Because the people under him,
but he knew what happened to them. He knew what happened to them. That's separate. That's different. It's not saying he didn't know. I'm not saying that he was right in how it happened to them. What I'm saying is he knew what happened to them. Correct? He knew what happened to them.
Yeah, but it's because he caused that.
I mean, his administration and the decisions that he made caused that. Absolutely. And that's a failure.
Okay,
it's a failure.
So you can't. Okay, so is it a failure that you lost 4 people? How many people go AWOL every single day?
I'm not. I wasn't blaming though.
Honestly, Trump had started the initial pullout. He just didn't want to enact it. So Biden did it. So I mean, it's kind of both.
Yeah, but they didn't do it the way Trump was going to do.
But, I mean, if we think about it, we should go all the way back. Look, George Bush started the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Supposedly we took out Osama bin Laden. He's like, mission accomplished, which we realized 9 years later, 10 years later, he was dead. Then they killed him. But we stayed there longer than we should have. We shouldn't have been over there. And like, that's one thing I'll give to Donald Trump. At least when he's going after, he's like, look, we're taking these things. If we're going to go to war for you, you're going to give us something. We're taking something. We're not just going to be there being keepers. You're going to give us something for this because we're not going to waste our resources. But I mean, Afghanistan, we shouldn't have been in there. Shout out to all.
Why is that crazy, Wes? Why is that crazy?
I mean, first of all, we didn't tell them that. I mean, why aren't we doing that to Israel then? Why aren't we doing that to them? Why aren't we telling them they're going to give us something then? That doesn't make any sense. I don't want to say because it's Israel or whatever, but yeah, it is because it's that. But not to blame that. I'm just saying like that's not normal. It's not a normal. That's not like the normal state of affairs. It's just not. We gave them loans. I mean, it wasn't a loan. Actually, we gave them $182 billion to Ukraine. We gave it to them. It wasn't under the condition that they pay us back. Trump's going in here. It doesn't look good for our nation. And the fact of the matter is what they did helped us in the long run. That's why we helped Ukraine. I'm not helping Ukraine for no reason. I'm helping them because it helps me. If I allow Russia to take Ukraine, you're sitting Russia close a step away from me having to go to war with you. Period. So what I'm creating a buffer zone, and I'm doing the same thing we did to Russia in Afghanistan. The same thing they tried to do to us in Afghanistan and Iraq. This is what we do.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna take off. I have other prior obligations. I'm gonna leave you two here.
Go ahead.
Thanks for having me on the Sunday show. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, brother.
See you, Mac.
Hey, but I mean, so that's kind of what I look at it as. You know what I mean? Those.
Oh, I get where you're coming from.
Buffer zone.
I see that, but in that, we helped out in World War II, World War I. We helped out Europe twice, but we still got something back from that, helping them out. What
do we get back from them from helping them out? Like as far as what?
I mean, we took took charge of Western Europe to begin with, right?
We had to. Western Germany.
Yeah. I mean, we had to take care of that. So we got that. That was ours to have. That was part of the deal. That was part of the treaty that the United States had signed. But what I'm saying is you can't be doing this for free. This is not something where we can sustain the United States giving money, giving weapons to another country. At some point, that has got to stop.
I don't think that's what we do. We don't normally just do that though. It's not something that we do it in a sense of like, I think it makes sense for us to do it. It's a part of our defense. It's a part of our defense budget, more or less. Not saying that what we gave to Ukraine was a part of we didn't know that Russia was going to invade. Then you understand what I'm saying? Like, but that's a part of our defense is to keep certain countries in strong positions so we don't have to be there.
Do you think it's wrong to ask for something in return for saving their asses?
Yeah. I definitely feel like
why nothing in the world is free. Okay,
there's
nothing in the world that's free.
I think that coming in and demanding
freedom is not free. Okay, freedom is not free.
I think that after the fact, demanding half of their natural reserve of their natural resources is a problem. I think other countries are going to look at us like, I can't trust you. Right now, the reason why we are who we are is because of our reach around the world, militarily and economically. Because economically, it's because of our military. That's why. This is why we have this. So if you're starting to create problems where like, hey, if I help you, you're going to give me half of all your natural resources. You can't. The reason why he's taking it further and further and further every single time, because he really doesn't want to deal with Ukraine. He really doesn't want to help them. He wants them to say no.
I think a lot of that is because Europe isn't helping as much as they should.
Europe has given as much money as America has, as much money as we have. That they have. If they're all
how many countries are in Europe?
All of Europe's economies do not equal up to the United States economy. Every economy in NATO together combined does not equal up to what the United States economy is. So that's like having all of your friends around you and you're the richest one. You got more money than everybody. So let's not equate
everybody over there. We support
absolutely. And I think we should be asking for more as far as, hey, step up your game. You guys need that. So that's what they're doing now, which is a good thing. They need to step their game up. But I don't think us, because really we won with that.
We're not the world's police. We never should have been.
I don't think that we play the world's police. Honestly, don't feel like that. I feel like we play shipping port. I feel like we play the economic world police. Wherever it behooves us economically, that's where we police, period. We don't police Africa. We don't police any countries there because we don't care, because economically it doesn't help us. We don't police the Middle East when they're going through stuff. We don't police them at all because it doesn't help us unless it does help us, like Kuwait. Oil is involved. Money's involved. We'll police you. But if there's no money involved, it's just like, oh, you guys are just civil war with each. Man, we don't care anything about that. So we're not really the world's police. We're policing our corporations' pockets. That's what we're doing. And we both know that. That's a fact.
But that's how business is transacted, right?
I'm not saying that I'm against it. I'm not saying that I'm against it. I'm just saying that we're not playing. I'm just debunking the fact that I think that everyone believes that we're really the world's police, but I'm watching civil wars around the world raging, and we're doing nothing about it. Not saying that we should.
Who's the first country they go to?
Or China. I think China is becoming a pretty big factor. And right now, Russia's a huge factor over in continents like Africa as well too. They're becoming very huge factors in a lot of these places, and other places around in Asia as well too. They're becoming factors. I think that's going to be a problem for us when we're sitting back. And I think that us paying $182 billion was the greatest investment we ever made over in Ukraine.
Well,
you can get rid of 1 million Russian troops.
Are you talking cash or are you talking weapons?
I don't think we gave very little cash to Ukraine. Very, very little. I don't think we even gave them the full 182.
What's the number? Was it 350 total?
No. We didn't. It was never given all that. I think we only really gave like 128 or 100, somewhere around that point. Maybe it was 182 total. But we promised we'd give this, but we didn't. It only this. But it was mostly like a very small amount of cash to help out with them keeping their government functional. People paying their people in their government to keep them functioning, and their people in their society. But it was mostly weapons that we already had in our arsenal that we were basically giving to them that we could replace within our arsenal. That's it. But do you think that killing 1 million Russian troops was worth $182 billion? Because say how much do you think that would have cost us to do at war with Russia? Straight up and down. Trillions. Trillions. Trillions of dollars. To kill 1 million Russian troops? No. Trillions of dollars. How many American lives would that have been lost?
Because
with that?
I'll tell you what, it would have cost a zero amount of money, because we're not going to go to war with Russia. Because if we go to war with Russia, we all die. Period. End of story. I would say this. If I don't think that's 100%. I don't think that's maybe 100% accurate. I don't think Russia is willing to pull that trigger. I just don't.
I don't think they are. I don't think any country wants to go that route, because after that route, it's over. It's done. I think that there's a possibility that we could end up going to war with Russia. I mean, I think we would have if we would have just stepped back and gave them Ukraine. You think they're stopping at Ukraine? Do you believe that they're going to? Oh, it's good enough for us, Ukraine. They don't want Latvia. They don't want Estonia. You know what I mean? They don't want Lithuania.
Listen, he's a KGB guy. I mean, period. Putin's a KGB guy. So he misses Mother Russia. He misses the Soviet Union. I get that. But he is not going to risk everybody in his country for a war against the United States. And we sure as hell aren't going to risk our country in a war with Russia. Period.
And so I think that a war with Russia may not be fought on Russian land. It could just be fought in Poland.
It won't be fought anywhere except up in the sky. And then those missiles land on us and we all die.
I think that's what they want everyone to believe, that's the way it'll end. But I think that no one wants to pull up. No one wants to.
Why do you think Putin hasn't dropped one on Ukraine yet?
Because in reality, he wants to rule Ukraine. He wants to rule. You can't like they say, you don't want to be king of the ashes. He doesn't. He doesn't want to.
He was getting his ass kicked for a while, wasn't he?
He doesn't want it. It's because if he drops a nuke on Ukraine, then I mean, even China said they're against them. If you drop a nuke, China told them, hey, we're done with you. If you drop, this is what you will become the pariah of the world if you drop a nuke. Any country that drops a nuke does not matter. So that's the deterrent right there. The deterrent is bigger than what people believe that it is.
That's why you get into talks with him. You know, the history of the world has shown us that dictators, strongmen, when you want to get them to get back, you give them a little piece. Did we give Soviet Union a little piece?
Oh man, wait. We gave Hitler a little piece of something. What did he do? That does not. The last real strong man that really came out and did something. No, we didn't give him anything. We didn't give Saddam Hussein anything in Kuwait. We didn't give him anything. He was a strong man. He was a dictator. When it came to Kuwait,
he wasn't strong.
He took over Kuwait real quick. I guarantee he probably could have took over Kuwait.
How many days did it take to get rid of him?
We're talking about the giants over here. We're not talking about, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I mean, he could have took over many countries in the Middle East. If we would have just stepped back and did nothing, he probably.
So do we not sit down with Putin at the table and try and work out a diplomatic solution with him? Is that not what you want?
The way they're going about it is just they're going about it incorrect way. You can't sit down. Putin's sitting down saying, "Hey, it's starting with I'm keeping what I got. I'm keeping what I got, and I'm not giving up anything."
Do you have a degree in foreign policy?
Now I got to have a degree in foreign policy. Pete Hessick probably ain't got a degree in foreign policy. So what are you talking about? He's probably just got a degree. He's sitting up there. This dude was on Fox News just a couple days ago. Now, I mean, let's be real here. So he's the one who's going to be doing the deal, right?
Time than you, though, doesn't he?
I mean, yeah, but
Okay.
Does that give him? Does that give him because a person? I'd use the same analogy. Because a person flips the fries at McDonald's, does that say that they're qualified to be able to run the McDonald's to run the whole corporation? No, it doesn't. It does not give him that. It's just those are two separate issues. That's just not the same thing. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying that I'm qualified either. However, what I'm looking at is saying, you know what? I'm not going to start negotiations off with Russia by ceding everything. I don't think negotiations are negotiations.
Where are you seeing that they're ceding everything? They're not going to give Ukraine
all this. Okay, this is what they didn't say. They didn't say Ukraine.
What's in Ukraine?
They didn't say Ukraine. They said, Ukraine has to go ahead and just forego all the land they lost. This is what they said from the beginning of the Hessick said it. So did Rubio. This is what was said. I'm sure you heard. Oh, they just got to just go ahead and forget about that land. They're not getting that back. That's how you negotiate something? No, it's not, because it's already a deal being made behind closed doors with Russia. It's already done. This guy's, I mean, I don't much as we could say Hillary was Russia.
Information about the deal's already done. I don't see that anywhere.
If I'm the person helping make the deal, if I'm the United States and I'm coming out saying, hey, Steve, man, hey, all that land you just had is gone, huh? One more time.
Don't you think it would have been announced if it's already done?
I think that they need Zelensky to make it done. I mean, because Zelensky is still being funded by the Europeans. That war can still go on for a while. He can still. I'm not saying he's going to win, but it can go on for a while longer. No, he's not trying. But at the end of the day, he has to agree. And he already told us, he said, "Man, I'm not giving you half of all my." come on, man. First it was you got to give us X amount of dollars in natural resources. Then we want more than this. Now it's way over here. Give me half of all of your natural resources. This dude don't want a deal. He's doing this on purpose because he's really trying to help. What he's going to do now is pull back our all of our Starlink stuff and all of our intelligence again, because he wants Russia to be able to take as much land as possible. He's bought and sold. I mean, that's just what he is. Period. I mean, that's who he is right now. I mean, look at everything he's doing. You don't affect your.
That's what I said about Biden with China.
How is Biden? Tell me. I would like to see, what did he do that helped the Chinese out? He defended Taiwan. He's brought over more chip making capability to America. We're like number 2 now, or whatever it is, in chip making capabilities. Within the next, now I mean, we have more deals being made with Taiwan Semiconductor to build more plants over here.
Conspiracy theories. I got mine.
Mine's have actual legs. This is being shown. This is what he's done. I've given actual evidence of mine.
How many years was Joe Biden in the government? How much does the senator make every year? Roughly about $130,000 a year, something like that. Yet he's worth how many millions of dollars, Wesley?
You act like this is not everyone in the government. I'm not trying to say that it's right. I'm not going to defend that. We can go for everyone in the government and talk about this. I can look at Donald Trump. We can look at Trump and look how many billions that were given to his was it Jared Kushner? They want their money back. Remember, Saudi was like, "Give us our money back, man, or that money we gave you." Remember what about the money that Egyptian president gave?
Right, you're right. But you're trying to sit there and say that there's an equivalence to it, and there's not. You have to negotiate a settlement at some point, or that thing doesn't end.
I'm not saying you don't have to negotiate a settlement. I'm saying that you don't start off the settlement with just, hey, you know what? You guys got to, Steve, all your property that you had before, forget about it. You ain't getting that back. We're going to start here. That's where we're going to start at. You don't start there. Not, especially not if these people are your allies. You know what? Because in reality, Russia needs this negotiation just as bad as Zelensky does. In reality, he does.
Yes, I agree with you.
I mean, we've helped his stock market. Their stock market has skyrocketed ever since Trump won the election. Why is that? Why? Let's be real, man.
But okay, I'm being real. Look at history. All you gotta do is look at history. People cede land all the time in war. Period.
I understand that, but not before you even come to the negotiation. Not before we even sit down. Not before I sit in my seat at the table. I don't cede land. Then okay, yeah. When we get there, we start battling out a little bit. Yeah, I'm not gonna just cede the land before I even get to the table. Let's talk. Let's say, okay, he let them basically take back the Kursk region, but by pulling all of our first we pulled our intel, pulled our weapons so they could take back the Kursk. He did this on, man. Come on, this is crazy that we're not seeing this. It's really basic.
But again, at some point, when is enough enough? When do you sit there and go, all right, Zelensky, I understand you have put up a good fight. Okay, you've done a great job as president of Ukraine. But at what point do you keep putting your people in danger and keep getting your people killed when it might just be easier to do that?
Okay, I mean, he's not saying he's not with that. He's like, bro, I'm open, but I just don't want to walk into the room blindsided with, hey, man, we've already given up all this stuff here. This is done. We're not giving you back your kids that they stole from you. Nothing. You're not getting anything. We've already ceded all this right here. Now let's start negotiating from here. What room do you have to truly make a real negotiation for yourself at that point in time? That's what I'm saying. I'm not against them. Let's talk about it from really what the perception of it is. If it's our country, what are we ceding? You think we're giving up Georgia? No, I'm not giving up Georgia ever. I'm not ever giving up Georgia. Not a piece of it. Not an inch of it. Not Savannah. Not any piece of it at all.
No,
so let's talk from that perspective. We're talking from perspective. We're looking at them like, you guys just need to give this up.
You and I talked about this once before. Before. The places that Russia has taken over, the land that they have taken over in Ukraine, the majority of the people are still Russian supporters.
I can't say that for sure, and I don't think any of us can. I think that they were Ukrainians from the beginning, and I think they want to still be Ukrainians. They're just under Russian rule. I mean, if they wanted to be, they would have done what Crimea did. They would have done what what South Ossetia in Georgia did, which they turned around and said, you know what, we're going to vote to basically let ourselves be annexed by Russia. They didn't do that. They had to invade their way all the way through.
Let's ask them. Let's say, hey, do you guys want to be a part of Russia? Or you want to be a part of Ukraine? Let them vote it.
But we're not going to go to that point because Russia's going to be like, hey, they don't have to at this point in time. They're looking at us like, we got Trump. He's going to say whatever we want him to say. This dude just argued down the president of another country who we're supporting on national television. Let his clown of a vice president say stuff that he has no idea about. Oh, you guys are taking people and making them. We did it in this country. We sent our heavyweight champion to prison. Because he didn't want to go fight in a war. We did that here. Let's not act like we didn't. We did that here. So, am I wrong? That was conscription was like mandatory in this country in the 70s, in the 60s. But before that, it was mandatory.
It's a draft.
And we got and he did the same exact thing in his country because we weren't even being invaded. This war didn't have nothing to do with us. We didn't have to go over there and fight them at all.
But you're supporting it. You're supporting us being.
No. I'm talking about Vietnam.
Yes, you are. You are. Oh, you're talking about Vietnam.
We didn't have to go over and fight in Vietnam. We didn't have to. There was like those guys were coming
out over there. We were helping out the French. The French asked us to go over to Vietnam because they were getting their ass handed to them.
And at the same time, it was because we were allegedly fighting for democracy, blah 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 blah, and all that good stuff. Because Russia was just expanded into China.
Russia was expanding, right?
Yeah, and so I get it. I get all that.
We were the world. We are the world police.
But for us to sit back, I think that those things, like, look, the reason why we got a problem in North Korea right now is because of Russia expansion. That's not just world police. Now they got a whole rogue government over there with nuclear weapons. We should have handled that a long time ago. That's not just world police. That's like self-preservation. It makes sense, doesn't it? Now they got Kim Jong-un and his dynasty of a family over there with nukes, and we don't know what to do with them. We got to arm other people because of the fact that what we have as a rogue government over here. So is that policing or is that self-preservation? As soon as he gets a missile that can go far enough to hit us, like they say they do got one right now. And so
but that then becomes us being the aggressor, right? We are as a country the aggressor and taking out a smaller country. Yes, it is self-preservation, but the problem with that is the people on the left are going to scream their effing heads off because it's, oh my God, how can you bomb those poor people? Just like we're hearing today.
I don't think we should bomb them. I don't think we should. I think we're past that point.
Yeah, we should have
did that. Yeah, we had to. We should have did that a long time ago is what I'm saying. This is why we fight in Ukraine now, so that in 20 years from now, we're not fighting in Poland. That's why we fight in Ukraine now. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to send our young men and women out into Europe again to fight a European war again. I don't want to do that.
But here's the thing. Zelensky cannot do a damn thing unless he has support from the West. Period. True. So if Western Europe and the rest of Europe stop supporting him, the United States stop supporting Ukraine doesn't even exist anymore. Okay, it's gone.
Exactly.
It's
and
gone.
What else happens
so
next?
Why not negotiate? So then you negotiate and you end the war and you give some land to Putin.
You know what that does? That just strengthens Putin. He's probably taken who knows how many people he's gotten there, because we know that his problem is not it's personnel. It's people. Russia has a declining population base. That's what his
we've talked about that. Yep.
So that's what he's trying to take. He's trying to take. That's why he didn't drop a bomb, because if I kill all you people, I'm not getting what I really want, which is people. I want to take you. I want to take Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania. I want to take Poland so I can get people back. So that's what this whole we cannot. That's why, to me, there's been more. Like, there's this new episode of Johnny Harris. You ever heard of Johnny Harris before? He's a guy who used to be on Vox. He does all these kind of like these war documentaries, just documentaries about politics and stuff in general, right? He's basically talking about the type of wars that's been going on lately. He said that the wars have decreased, but he said there's been a lot less civil, I think civil strife, like inter-country wars. But he said the type of wars has really increased have been proxy wars over the years. And this is what we're fighting now, is a proxy war. People don't necessarily fight each other directly. We're fighting Russia without fighting Russia.
But there's a reason for that, though. We have to fight that proxy war because if we go against nukes. And that's the end. That's the end of the story right there.
And that makes sense for us. That's why I'm saying this is the best way for us to, the reason why do you know what actually was not the only thing, but one of the bigger factors what helped crumble the Soviet Union was the last straw on the break the camel's back was Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Afghanistan. We beat them in Afghanistan because we funded, who was the guy, Osama bin Laden and his buddies. We funded those guys, gave them all those weapons, helped them learn how
back
to
in
fight.
1980. Yep.
Yeah, and that's when, and after they pulled out of Afghanistan, had to get ran out of Afghanistan, the Soviet Union crumbled. That was how many trillions or billions of dollars did we spend on just fighting the Cold War, building weaponry, the military-industrial complex, everything that was spent on that. So it doesn't make sense for us to fight a war where we don't have to actually fight directly to deal with a problem that we might end up having to deal with later.
So end it, because if you don't come to an agreement somehow, that war never ends, right?
I would say, yeah, definitely it ends. I think I'm looking at Russia. I don't think it ends with. I don't think it ends with Ukraine losing. If we would have stayed the course on doing what we had to do, if they wouldn't have had to wait, if we would have gave, this war is in a bad situation because really Biden did not. He should have let them bomb inside of Russia from the very beginning with his weapons. They had really the only reason they have 20% like they do is because they told them, hey, you got to wait till they crossed the border to even be able to bomb them. So they can sit back in Russia and just throw bombs at you all day long and you can't bomb them back. That's why they've taken that land. So let's not act like they just got ran through, like there's no way they could have won. More Russian troops have died in this war than Ukrainian troops. That's a fact. It's a fact. Yeah. Because they're not really great fighters. That's just what it is.
You said it. It was the last administration that caused this issue. Period. Because they didn't
cause the issue, but
you
I mean,
just said it.
He's in a. We have to look at his. I mean, we have to look at where he's sitting in that situation too. I'm in basically running into probably coming into an election term. I can't really call if we cause a war, we have to go put boots on the ground, and I got to go over here and fight.
Hold on. When did this war start? When did
2022? It started in 22. That's 2 years prior to 2 years prior to him. 2 years prior to him. What I'm saying is we cannot. They were at Kiev, basically right at Kiev when we got into.
They were in Kiev.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, yes. Kiev. I'm sorry. So we know, we both know that this was a done deal. We helped them out and got them out and pushed them out far enough.
I called it Kiev for years. I always thought it was Kiev too.
No, that's okay. It's okay. It's fine. I appreciate you always correcting me. I always want to be, but I'm like, we got to look at it from that perspective. I think that he was really trying to keep us out of.
I love Chad's comment, directly. By the way.
Now, I'm trying to tell you, Chad is my buddy, but this dude right here, you guys would get along great. He's just, every day he sends me stuff all the time. I sent him something back the other day.
I really do think there's got to be a stopping point from the United States standpoint. From our standpoint, we're wasting money. We're because we're not getting anything back in return. It's a stalemate at this point.
No, we're getting something back in return.
We can't make because now we need something back in return.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact of the matter. Russia used to have about 2 million or plus troops in their army. Now they don't. No. Now they're at a situation to where they've lost over 1 million plus men. They probably got more than that wounded.
But you got to remember who's backing them up.
Who? China?
Who's backing their?
China. I mean, to me, okay. This is what I'm saying. China can't just.
China's not going to let Russia lose that war.
You don't have to lose. To me, you just have to be weakened to the point to where there's no recovery. They're already losing. But like I said, and but then by the year 2100, I know it sounds like a long time, but it's not. They're going to lose about 30 million, 40 million more people out of their country. They got about 144 million people. They're going to have 110 million at that point in time.
Same thing's going to happen in the United States.
No, it's not.
Our rate is so low.
Yeah, but the reason why we have it, but we have
right. We let illegals in. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, and let's be honest. Ross Perot Jr. said it. The reason why we definitely can support him. We haven't had a problem with. I don't think any of us has lost our jobs based off of the fact that we want to hire 14-year-olds to take the jobs.
No, but
it's crazy. We want to hire a 14-year-old. Now we want them to work.
Let's go back to we're getting
because we don't want to talk about that. That's just,
I'll talk about it in a heartbeat.
No, I know, I get you. Let's stick to the subject. Yeah. But and I'm just like, to me, it's more important for me to defeat them now than have to fight them, because Putin's not going to live forever. He's not going to live forever. The next guy may be a little bit more. This is what empires kind of do. They hope that the next administration is a little bit more pliable, that they're a little smarter, that just a little bit, we can deal with you more than we can deal with this. Somebody had to be the tough guy in order for it to become a weakness here. Somebody had to be the tough guy in this country in order for us to be able to become more pliable and more enlightened at some point in time. Countries get that way. You look at even in Saudi Arabia, they had to have a tough king before they could have one that's more economically and more, okay, you guys let's build a city like this where there can be people who can maybe smoke in the streets or maybe have a casino somewhere. So, I'm not saying they have casinos, but I'm saying you have to have that in order to be able to get here. And so that's what we're looking for. Putin's he's just a guy who he needs to go, period. And I think, and it's pretty soon they're saying that you see Zelensky just said that Putin's going to die soon. You hear him saying that he's like, hey, something's wrong. Yeah. If you look at him, he's swollen up. If you really look, he's taking some type of a steroid. His face is kind of like puppy.
I saw that. Yeah.
I saw that a while too back. I was like, man, you look like you.
And you know that. I mean, if that's the case, then you wait him out, right? You can wait him out, but as you wait him out, more people die in Ukraine.
If Ukraine's okay with keeping their country, if it's me, I'm gonna fight until I get my country back. I'm not gonna if you're taking kids from my country, if you're taking pieces of my country, I'm not gonna, because if we stop now, all we're doing is letting them get their power back up, let them get their economy back in line and putting themselves back. I mean, because what's gonna happen is countries gonna be like, hey, you guys beat America. They gave up that land. They let you guys keep this. Now let us side with you. That's why they got Burkina Faso, Niger. That's why they got Mali. Those countries are with them now. They're supplying them with weapons now. Why? Because it looks like they're that's the strong man over there. We look like we're the weaker party. I mean, if we back away from helping our allies, that's what we look like, man. And I don't want that to ever be the case. I want us to always be a strong nation, a true strong nation. What Trump is doing is weakness. He's pretending strength, but it's really weakness. And it's not because weakness based off the fact that he's a weak person, but it's because of the fact that I think that he has a weakness for Putin. There's something there. There's something there with that situation. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something. Just like he didn't want to release the Epstein papers. Why? Why is that not being done? And no one ever talks about that, because there's something there. And we know what's there. It's been talked about already. That his name's in it.
I thought it was the Southern District of New York that didn't release it.
No, I mean, you didn't remember they were out on the thing talking about, hey, we got the Epstein files. It's right here. And next thing you know, there was nothing.
Nothing. Right. But there was an issue with the Southern District not releasing all the information.
Epstein died under Trump's administration in a federal prison. I think they were wasn't he in a federal facility? I believe. I don't know. I think in a federal facility. You think that he doesn't have killed? You think that he doesn't have all access to being able to say, it's my guy in the DOJ and my people here and there, that he doesn't. You didn't see the Fox interview?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. Don't you think that would have come out in the last administration? Really? If you really wanted to nail Trump, you don't think they would have put it out in the last administration if there was something on?
What?
Damn right.
I think you know what I think? I think there's something on. There was something on Prince Andrew, I think his name. I think there's something on probably a lot of these Democrats. I think there's something on a lot of these people in office. That's why I think that they're leaving that alone.
Bill.
I mean, yeah, I don't. And I believe that. I agree. I'm not disagreeing this
all the Hollywood
but this is the man this is the guy who was in the office, who was in the big seat right now. Is him. People who voted for this person, who said this is our guy, and and these are his values. Because there's tapes of Epstein saying he was me and him were best friends. He came. I mean, he's been on the plane at least 10 times.
I laugh. I don't mean to laugh at you personally, okay, Wesley, but
no, it's okay. No, it's okay.
To me, it's so hypocritical, because I guarantee you in 1992 you voted for Clinton, didn't you? If you were old enough,
I couldn't even vote. I couldn't even vote at that time. So, right. But I'm not. But I would have. But I would. No, actually, no. Wait. I was in 8th grade. We actually had in our
you're young.
class. No, I'm not that young. I'm not. But listen. Look, man. Finish. But listen. We had like in our class. We had like there was different. Like we all voted for who we want. I picked Ross Perot. Actually, I would have voted for Ross. I was like, hey, because I liked his economic policies, not understanding that his social policies would not have worked for the country, but his economic policies were great for the country. It would have helped us get out of debt. I like that at that time. That shows conservatism on my part.
I do. Yeah, it does. I'm proud of you. You're coming around.
I've been this way. But
no, the whole thing with Trump and
go ahead, say his name.
The Epstein Island,
that guy.
It's not. You know what? If he had something to do with it, he probably had a group of people that were on that island doing it.
His name was in paperwork. Like he called Epstein. They have files. They talked about it. I think it's something Lou he's a Democrat.
Tom Hanks was there. Are you gonna? Tom Hanks
I'm
is a
and
major
you know what?
football-
And,
I mean,
and
it's like-
if he was, I don't know if he was there or not. I can't say if he was there or not. I don't know. But I don't know.
but
But I
there's
know
all
that
kinds of people that would have had.
I never
reason to
voted for
do
Tom
it.
Hanks. You know what I didn't vote for? Tom Hanks. You know who else I didn't vote
Yeah.
for? Any people, any Hollywood elites. I don't vote for none of those people.
Did you vote for
ever.
Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, I did. I voted for Hillary Clinton. I did. I mean, I did.
She was
I
friends.
She wasn't on Epstein Island though. I think Bill might have been, but Hillary just was like, okay, you know, Hillary. I'm gonna be honest. This is what I think. Hillary was a smarter version of Bill. She just took like it's being a woman who probably couldn't get as far as she wanted to get by herself at that time because of how things were back then. She hitched her wagon to Bill, and she was smarter than Bill was. Bill was just a really good talker. He was good at what he did, and she hitched his wagon to his. But really, he kind of almost ruined her career
And
after he did what he did.
why couldn't it have been her that had him taken out? Because that was the prevailing wisdom.
And
Was
in
that
all
she
honesty,
did.
it's
Not
possible.
Trump.
It's. I mean,
Nobody said
possible.
Trump had anything to do with it.
I mean,
They said
I've heard about a lot of things the Clintons may have done. I mean, I've heard about a lot of bodies they may have hidden away. I've heard about it. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Go look at Chelsea Clinton and Webb Hubble and tell me if they're not related at some point.
But they're saying the same thing about Obama. It just seems like they're always trying to say that these people like Obama.
Well, they say Michelle has a penis. Is that true?
I mean, and if we look at Michelle, to me, I think Michelle's beautiful. I do. I think she's one of the best looking, first ladies we've ever had. One of the most educated by far. You know what I mean? But I think they rather like they say that she's a man. He's not a citizen.
I would much rather have her run.
Just think about it. They say that she's a man, and he's not a citizen. That to me speaks volumes about, when did Tea Party come into fruition? When he was in power.
And they said Trump was getting peed on in Russia.
I believe it. I believe he was. I believe because let's be real. Even Stormy Daniels was. All of them kind of said some weird stuff about. We don't. But did he pay her? He's like, hey, Stormy, let me go ahead and give you this money to shut you up real quick. We can't trust. Is that true or not? Did he not give her the money? Did he knock her down?
Yes, he did, and that was the smartest thing he could have done, and should never have gotten. Never should have gone.
So if you use campaign contributions, which is illegal, it's illegal to use your campaign contributions to pay off personal debt. Is that true or not?
Do you really think? Really?
I don't. I'm not going to
fun in Congress.
I'm not going to say that other people don't do it. I'm not going to say that. But he shouldn't have. He should have paid his own money. Why? It's illegal. It's illegal. He should have just got his own
money.
He didn't. He didn't want to. He didn't even want. He made what's the guy's name? Mike, whatever his name was.
Cohen.
Yeah, he made him do it. That's why he took the money out of here.
You mean the guy who was convicted of plagiarism? I mean, not plagiarism, but for lying on the stand.
And that was his lawyer. He knew what kind of lawyer he was getting. Do you remember? Okay, first Trump used to have the best lawyer. No, it's okay. You remember Trump used to have the best lawyer, like one of the best lawyers in New York when he first came out, and they had Trump Towers and all that kind of stuff.
That's all going to get overturned, right? All that's going to get.
I mean, it's not even going to matter anymore. He's not going to ever go to jail for it. He should have. These are two things right here. I mean, I don't know anybody who has 34 felonies. They're not. I mean, come on, 34.
Who in their right mind has ever been brought up on those charges before, like they did in New York City?
Who's ever been brought up on?
Zero.
Basically,
zero.
Wait.
Even the federal government, even the DOJ said they weren't going to do it, and it was a federal case. They said they weren't going to do it, but what's his face up in New York City? Alvin Bragg said, "Oh no, I'm going to get Trump." Letitia James, I'm running to get Trump. Period. End of story.
If he broke the law, are we saying that if he breaks the law that he shouldn't get in trouble for that?
It wasn't a law to be broken. Even the DOJ said that.
Are you saying that using campaign contributions to pay off private?
Let me ask you a question. It was a federal case. Did the DOJ prosecute him?
Let me
why
explain.
Why did they not prosecute him?
Okay, this is what I think. You're asking me. I don't know, but let me tell you why I think they didn't. This because I can't say I know directly. I have direct information because if I'm Biden and it's under the Biden administration when they want to, it's his DOJ guy. It doesn't look good for me to send my DOJ against my political opponent. It just doesn't at all. That's why they did.
But do you know the third highest person in the DOJ went to the district attorney's office, Alvin Bragg's office, to work for him? And they visited the White House.
Are we being people, we know these worlds are like intertwined like no other.
do you not believe it was lawfare against Trump
I believe that
to
Trump.
go after him to try and keep him out of office? I mean, come on.
I believe they should. I believe they should have kept him out of office for him sending people on January 6th when he came up there on January. He should have never been president again after that fact. This right here was just a side note. The fact of the matter of January 6th to me, that was enough to never allow him to be president ever again in life. And if you ask me, I just from what I saw from myself, not caring about a committee or any of the rest of that stuff. It'll be wild. I understand what that. If I text my friends, come over here, it'll be wild and something like, and they come here, I'm responsible for it. They try to make a law that whoever puts on a protest is responsible for whatever the people in the protest do. There was courts who filed for that. You heard about that, right? There's courts that actually agreed with that. I mean, so what if you commit a crime with your friends and even though I didn't shoot you and my friend kills you, I'm responsible for that. So everyone. So let's not.
So let me ask you a question. Tell me the phrase or words in that speech on January 6th that caused those people to go to the Capitol.
Man, hey, this is okay.
To bum rush it.
Let's walk down to the Capitol. Hey,
let's go. Let's
not act like we don't know who we got. And okay, I got Jeannie. What's her name? Jeannie Thomas. Talking with and Roger Stone talking with Proud Boys and all these other guys. They know who they brought with them. If I bring hitters with me, you act like I don't know what they're about to do. They don't even want to come inside my speech area and listen to me talk because I got metal detectors. He said, take away the metal detectors. They're not here to hurt me. Trump said this. Yeah, they had to stop him from going down there.
They're his supporters. Okay, so why was the National Guard not there?
I don't know.
They were so worried about it.
You know what? They had a number. They had guardrails, everything else. The people started beating them.
How many Capitol Police were there that day?
I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know how many. You tell me.
Not many.
It looked like a lot to me. How many?
And how many of them were opening the door to let people in?
After I seen my friends get beat over on the other side, I'm opening the doors too. And they're sitting there like, listen.
I'm going to be honest with you. January 6th was wrong. I'll be 100%.
Was it? Do you think that Trump had anything to do with it?
I don't think he wanted that to happen. To be honest with you, I don't think he wanted that to happen.
Why would you tell people to come down on the day of the transfer of power and then say Mike Pence has let us down? All this other stuff.
I'm not saying that.
Why would you do that?
I'm not saying that I don't think he wanted them to bum rush the Capitol.
If you need to be strong, if you want to keep your country, you must be strong. You must do this. Are you serious? Without saying attack, he said, "Wait, come on." I mean, people, I consider you a very, very highly.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Is it a false equivalency to say if he did that, then was it okay for, let's say, Maxine Waters to say, oh, you got to go where they're at. You got to get in their face and you got to do this. You got to do that. If she had
that same speech after she had called 100,000 people to the steps of the White House, and she said the same thing. You got to go in there. Yes, it's the same thing. I'm like, Maxine, you're tripping. You didn't. You know what I'm saying? You called 100,000 killers down here, and they're running up in the White House right now. This is on Maxine Waters. She needs to go.
There's a lot that I honestly I think you're right. He shouldn't have had that rally on that day. Okay,
it's intentional. That was intent.
I get that.
On top of that, let's say this too: the intent, and also because this is a grander part of the same intent, the same exact thing. Send in your fake electors to 7 different states. That shows a total intent. Now you send in fake electors to say, "Hey, no, these are the real certification papers." You're showing a full. It's not like one action. There's multiple actions that leads to one result. That's like. You sent in fake electorates. Okay, you know that every state has their own electors they have to go certify votes for their state. He went and gathered up in 7 different states, gathered up, maybe it was 12 different people for each state. Had them go to the steps of their city buildings or their Capitol buildings in their state and act like they were the ones who were there to certify the votes for the state. This is a fact. Him and his people did this. They've been, and so that's too. I mean, we can't take away.
I do think I have a. And this is just an opinion. I can't state fact, but you had a lot of people that were pointing to him and saying, "Look, this is legal. This is legal. You can do this. You can do this." And he listened to him.
And he had a lot of people saying no.
Doing that? No.
He had more people say he had his DOJ guy saying no, he fired him. No, what he was doing was this. No, oh, okay, you're done. You're fired. You're out of here. Bring in the guy who tells me yes.
He definitely had people in his ear, and
he's like, bring the guy who tells me yes.
Yeah, I know. And you know, I don't like the fact that he called Brian Kemp and said, "Find me 11,000 votes." Okay,
on the phone.
Okay.
We all heard it.
We
all heard it. Like,
right?
Hey, I need you to find me 11,780. It was an exact number. It was crazy. You know what I mean? And even everyone around him told him, "No, man. There's no. They didn't cheat you. You lost. He knew he didn't lose. There's something wrong with this dude. Is what I'm saying to you. It's like, and it endangers.
I'm not saying
country.
There's not.
But it endangers our country, like, because it'll make us
wrong. There's a hell of a lot more wrong with your side of the party.
Are we trying to usurp the country? Are we trying to take over and say, you know what? You guys will never get to be. If you lose, if we lose, we walk away. If you guys lose, it's war. Let's be real here. It's a problem, and it's
okay. How many? You want to go back and check the video on how many people tried not to certify the 2016 election on the Democratic side?
I didn't, but not enough to where.
I'll tell you what. I'll go pull up the YouTube videos of the House of Representatives on the day that they said, "No, it should never happen. We're not going to certify this election because he's not."
Please. But it
Russia that caused him to win. That Hillary lost the election.
I mean, and this is what I'm gonna say right here. But those are.
Look for it.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is this right here. Am I going to sit back and say those two are the same things because one person says that, hey, no, he's unfit for office, he shouldn't have won, blah blah blah, we're not going to certify, but they did. It ultimately all happened exactly the way it was supposed to. There was no big push for it not to happen.
Okay, people so who became president? Who became president?
No, what I'm saying is people may have spoken about it, but there was no actual
they tried
behind that. Who? I need to see this. Who tried to do it? Who?
Do you want me to bring it up? And I'll send you the link.
And please send me the links because I need to see it too. I mean, we can't be talking about one guy from Maine who's
it was Trump. Multiple people standing in front of inside the House of Representatives saying that the election was stolen and shouldn't have been certified.
But did they actually cast?
And for you not to know that, you're a multimedia guy, right? You are a social
I've never heard that before.
Guy, and you've never. Oh God, I'm going to
come on. There's probably a lot of things.
I'm going to show it to you on my camera.
There's probably a lot of things I haven't heard of. There's so much information out there, it's crazy. But all I'm saying is there's always going to be one or two people who are going to say, "Oh, you shouldn't be certified." But I guarantee if their states voted for Trump, that they certified the election for Trump. Guarantee that. There's nothing they could do about it. They went up there and they gave their vote.
Let me ask you a question. You sit there and go. You said something to me like, "Oh, well, who became president? He got certified." Well, so did Biden. Yeah, it never amounted.
They had to flee. They had to flee. Hey, did they flee? Did they have to flee? Did Mike Pence have to run away out of the White House? Did it happen like it was supposed to happen? No.
Well, listen, if he just listened to Trump, damn it, he wouldn't have had to.
He would have had to run for his life. Hey, if they would have caught him, they was going to kill him. If they would have caught, you think they would have killed him if they would have caught him?
Listen, it'd have been like
killed him.
It'd have been like Southern Alabama in the 1950s. They were looking to lynch somebody.
Yeah, man, they was going to kill him. They were going to kill that dude for real. Hey, I get if they had caught Nancy Pelosi, she was dead. She was dead.
You know why? I find it kind of irritating.
AOC
sometimes.
Dead.
No.
They would have killed AOC. They would have ripped. They would limb from limb her.
The dude in the buffalo hat. Is that what was?
Did you see the people beating the police? You didn't see the people. I saw the one.
No. I'm talking about the dude. The dude. In the
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, walking around with no shirt on. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Paint on his face.
In Nancy Pelosi's chair with his feet propped up,
peeing and doodling all over the thing, smearing. Come on, man. I mean, we didn't see they were beating those policemen bad. They were. I mean, I saw him bring one of them and just drop him in front of his friends. You remember the one guy who they beat him so bad he was unconscious? If that would have been anyone else, they would have killed them. If that had been supporters,
but again, there's blame on both sides to be had here. Okay, and the reason I say that, if the National Guard had been called in, that wouldn't have happened. I can honestly, as an American, as somebody who's in the military, I can honestly say, had the National Guard been involved and been there that day, January 6th would have never happened. Period.
Do we feel like
And where's the failure there? Who's accountable for that? Where's the accountability for that? I haven't seen it yet.
Trump should be held accountable for that because he's the person who called these people down here to begin with.
He was held accountable. He was impeached.
No, what he should have been is put in jail behind that right there. You should be jailed for that right there. Anyone else would have done something like that, they're going to be jailed for treason. Against this country. Like, let's be real. Like that's the worst thing I've ever seen. I've seen some pretty bad stuff. I'm not trying. There's other bad things that have happened to people of my color I've seen. I'm going to separate that from this.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's the worst.
It was a bad day for America.
I didn't even believe it. My friend, one of my friends who I shall not name his name, he told me that was going to happen. How did he know? I was like, man, yeah, right. This isn't about to happen. I didn't even believe him. He told me before. He's like, man, this day right here. How did he know weeks before this happened?
I didn't think that was going to happen.
He told me
there might have been some craziness that went on there. People,
how did you?
That's
think,
why
when
I heard they were going to have metal detectors and stuff like that, and it just. There's so many things about that day though that don't add up to me.
Jeannie,
there's a lot
Thomas
of things that
bust people into this event. The Supreme Court one of our Supreme Court court members.
They're called shuttles. They're called shuttles.
Shuttled in. Proud Boys and whoever else she shuttled in. They were walking by police like, hey, just stay out of this. We don't want to have to hurt you. Did you hear those people say that to the police? On the tapes when they're walking by them, He said we got guys in trees with guns. This is what they were saying. It's all. Recorded.
I know it's really there's a lot of things that really get me about the IG report that came out that said that there were federal agents in the crowd, right?
I believe it.
But did they not do anything to stop it? Were they there to egg it on? Those are the questions that we don't hear about. We don't hear those questions.
I'm going to say these two things. I believe there were federal agents in the crowd when they had the march on Washington, when they had remember when Dr. Martin King did the march. I bet you there were federal agents in that crowd too, a bunch of them, because that's what they're supposed to infiltrate groups like this. This is what they're supposed to do. Right. And then another reason I believe that there were probably federal agents and police officers and a lot of other people because they actually believe in this stuff. They're actually with those groups of people. They're actually a part of that. A lot of our police forces, our federal agencies are all a part of this same exact groups of people. I do think in the next couple of years, maybe not during Trump's term, it may be the next, because I don't right now. I think he just wants to get rid of January 6th and it not be an issue for him. Yeah. But I do think at some point in the near future, within the next 10 years, you're going to have another committee, another January 6th committee. They've already talked about it prior to the election. If Trump won, they wanted to have another committee. I think that might happen, not this year, but maybe next year or within the next 10 years. Somewhere along the lines, if you get another Republican in office, they're gonna go in there and they're going to do another deep dive into that. And you're going to find out more information that people on your side are not going to like. I really do, and I see all the guilt. Do I think people are very, very? Do I think people are smart and they can use optics? I believe they thought that allowing that to happen would make it so they would preclude him from ever being president again. I think they thought that convicting him of a crime. I think they thought that convicting 100%. Him of the 34 felonies would preclude him from ever being president. They thought people were decent. Yes. They didn't understand. Americans are not. We don't care about a lot of things that we used to care about. Decency in this country doesn't matter anymore.
Nope.
Period.
It doesn't
matter. We got JD Vance over here talking about your shit people talking to putting that on his Twitter, whatever he tweeted it out or sent it out. I mean, this is our vice president. In reality, he knows better. When you look at JD Vance, you can tell, that he knows better than what he's doing, but he understands the moment.
Guy called me garbage. Your guy called me garbage.
You know what I mean?
Called me garbage.
I mean, honestly, I'm not saying you're garbage. I can't say that.
Your guy called me garbage.
This is what I'm gonna say about this, man. When we sit back and we look at
I'm deplorable. I'm a deplorable person. I'm garbage. Right.
Listen, this is how I look at it. I can't say that to you directly because I like you. I mean, that's just so it's not a fair thing to say to you. You know what I'm saying? I would not saying that I would say it to you at all. But what I'm saying is this: when you can sit back and allow a person to use racism, not to use that first, let's take that out, but he uses it when he's talking about, Haitians eating cats and dogs, and he's using, when you can allow a person to use, immigrants to be scapegoated as the biggest problem, like they used Jewish people in Germany, same exact difference, other than the fact that, we're not going to just try to exterminate them like Germany did, not in the beginning. Who knows later?
Isn't
we might do.
Isn't that phrase a little bit of an oxymoron? It's the same difference. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, no, I get you, but I feel like there's almost like kind of no difference in it. For he's scapegoating. That's why I said that. I really wanted to take that effect. Like, okay, it is the same thing. He's doing the same exact thing. He's basically he used the same playbook as Hitler. Not saying he's Hitler, not saying that he's bad as this guy. No, you know what I mean? But do I think that he's understood that, hey, this works? Let's use anti this and anti that. These things work with people. Anger is a great weapon to use. And we're using the anger of this nation versus using the will and the greatness of this nation. That's what he's using. That's when I look at him. I'm like, so people who support these things, I have to look at them like, man, do you see what you're supporting? You're supporting the defunding of Social Security for people like me and you. You're supporting the defunding of schools. You're supporting the defunding of children. You're supporting the defunding of women's health rights. I mean, when do I have to start questioning? I don't have to look at him and say that he's the problem because people voted for him.
But I can do the same thing for the people on your side, Wesley. That's the part that people don't get is you can make an equivalency because you think you're right. But I can sit around and turn around and say, well, because you support this, you support that. But I mean, it's
I get
six
you.
one half dozen another.
I get you. I think
we are diametrically opposed against each other because they tell us to be.
Okay? I think the worst thing that my side does is the transgender thing. I think that's the worst thing. All this other stuff. I think that's the worst thing that the side that I'm conveniently married to at the time is my marriage of convenience, I should say. That's what I think that we need to stop pushing that as like let people live. If they want to live the way they want, that's fine. I'm good with that. But you shouldn't.
Why do Democrats have a 26% approval rating right now?
What is Republicans? You get what I'm saying?
Not 26%.
I bet you bought maybe they're 31, 32%.
But here's the thing.
Trump's approval rating is pretty bad right now too. It's the worst of any
49%.
president. I think it's the worst. It depends on who you're looking at, but it's the worst of any president this far into his presidency. It's the worst ever in history.
I thought it was 40-some% so far.
I mean, I'm not I can't, but I know that it's the worst of any president.
An NBC poll.
It's the worst.
I forgot you don't like NBC.
I'm not gonna say I don't like NBC. If that's their poll, I believe an NBC poll because they normally use the comparison of different polls. They use Wall Street Journal poll, other polls like that. Wall Street Journal is normally
But here's the thing: you can say, "Well, I don't support this. I don't support that." Okay, I understand that. I get it. I get there's an ideological difference between you and me and other conservatives and me with other liberals. I get that. But at some point, where do we say enough is enough as a country? Because there are bad actors on both sides. You can sit there and say Trump is a jackass. He's terrible for the country. He is the worst thing for democracy that's ever lived. Okay. And I can turn around and say to you, well, you didn't have a legit presidential candidate. Okay. You didn't. Because if there's because she was not voted. Nobody voted for her in the primary. She got 0 votes in the primary. Okay?
And that's what I mean.
So I can sit there. That is an existential threat to democracy. Period.
No, I mean,
because
not really.
You basically created a coup on the left to get somebody out who was running for president. Who? Because you didn't like him because he was old.
No, we don't. I think that we looked at it and from a standpoint of, yes, he's old, but on top of that, at that point in time, he showed real signs of not being able to hold the presidency. As far as like, okay, right now we gave you an opportunity. We gave you the State of the Union. We even gave you all the way up to the very first.
The left circumvented the process.
They didn't. They did not actually. I'm gonna tell you why they didn't.
George Clooney said, "I don't like Biden. He needs to go. So we need to install somebody else."
This is what I believe happened. This is my.
Biden said, "Yeah, it should be Kamala."
No, this is what I think happened. This is what maybe that happened too. I don't know, but this is what I think. I think that for a while they were probably already telling Biden, like, hey man, you sure that you can make it? And he's like, he's a man. So he's gonna be like, yeah, I can do it. And he got up to the point to where he went through that first State of the Union and he made it through it, even though there was a lot of little hiccups in there. I caught him. I caught him. But it looked good enough. He had
a couple. You mean the one where he was like
the State of the Union? In the State of the Union, he did pretty decent in the State of the Union.
He did okay there, but he did.
And it was decent. But yeah, he did. I hate it when he did this with his lip all the time. That's with his little finger like that. I was just I'm looking to do like, oh my god, man, something ain't right. But then they were like, okay, maybe we can juice him up and he can be fine. Maybe we hit him with the.
I didn't think, to be honest, I didn't think that was a bad speech. I didn't think that was a bad.
No,
speech.
he did good. He did. I mean, it was serviceable. I was like, okay, you made it. Even though I caught you a few times, maybe it's just your stutter that you have there. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But okay, so then it came around to the actual when they had the very first debate, it showed everything. That was a wrap. It was done deal. We all looked at him like, oh yeah, this can't happen.
Yeah, but okay, so let me ask you a question. Now, the stories have come out, even the interview with George Clooney that he did just last week, where he was directly involved. A Hollywood actor. Really? Is that really who you want to tie your wagons to? Is that the hill you want to die on?
Wow.
Wesley?
Wait a minute here. You know what? That's you just set yourself up right there with that one. Because you know what I'm going to say, right? Who is Trump? What is Trump? Trump is the apprentice. Okay, is that who we're
president of the United States?
Before this,
what's George Clooney? What's George Clooney ever done?
No, he's a mega donor. This is what I'm gonna say. People are not just look at Zelensky. He was a comic, but he's doing a hell of a job as president of Ukraine during wartime. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are not always just who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I bet you've had several different hats in your life. Several different ones before you. So everybody's not just because George Clooney was whatever he was before he was an actor, probably just a starving artist, and all of a sudden he's here now.
Is that really what you want to hitch your wagon to?
I'm not hitching my wagon to him. I think that if he's a person who can gather funds, that's what he does. That's who he is.
You know why the left? You know why you guys lost? You know why you guys lost? You guys are so out of touch.
Oh,
you're out of touch with. You guys are so out of touch with the regular American people. You know why? Because you want Oprah to sit there. You want Beyonce to sit there. You want George Clooney to sit there.
You guys had Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan. You guys had Hulk Hogan, the guy from the perfect. What was that? The Snuggie. You had the Snuggie guy or whatever. I mean, let's be real right here. Hold on. Let's not. This is what I will say. I would say Kamala Harris.
Hogan is not. Who's a billionaire? Hogan or Oprah?
I mean,
not Hogan.
I don't know. Oprah is she's a self-made billionaire. That's like a real self-made story. That's like a real story of a person who like came up from nothing. Like literally,
they charged the Harris campaign money.
This is what I would say about Harris. What they should have done with Harris is they should not have kept her on such a tight leash.
Beyonce to show up and not even sing.
So Beyonce said she didn't get paid at all. That's what she said. That's what Beyonce came out of her mouth. So we only could take her at face value. We can't sit back and say something happened and that we don't know if it happened. We don't have any receipts for it.
And Jay-Z's never been to a Diddy party.
We act like Diddy. Hold on. Let's go ahead and talk about Diddy for a quick second here. We can't act like. Is there something wrong with a Diddy party? Let's be honest here. Is there something if he's raping? If he has underage kids, he has not been accused of raping anyone. He has not been accused of having underage kids at his party. He's been accused of paying people to go cross state lines for the purposes of having sex. That's not rape. That's not rape.
But that's against the law.
Okay, it's against the law, but that's like, I mean, basically what they're saying is.
Let's not worry about that.
Is that? I mean, to me, I look at it like this. This is the same equivalent. If a person were to say, "Hey, I want to fly this girl over to my house. She lives in a different state, and she comes over, and we talked on the phone about, hey, we're gonna hang out, blah blah blah, and I pay for her plane ticket." It's the same exact thing. You know that, right? Same thing. Does that sound illegal? Should be illegal.
Now, if she cries rape. If she cries,
that's something else. That's something even bigger. Okay. But he didn't even have that against him. So what I'm saying is, so if a person were to go to one of his parties, lots of people went to his parties. That doesn't mean they partook in whatever they're saying that he did.
There's more nefarious stuff than just that. There has been.
Do we know?
I think so. And
we're thinking this. We don't know. I mean, do you know how many different cases that just got dropped from even
Leslie,
Jay-Z's case?
Were you at a dating party yet, Leslie?
I would have went to it. If I'm not raping, I'm not taking nothing.
Are
I'm
you
not messing
going
with
to freak
underage
out?
kids.
Are you going to freak out? Are you going to freak out?
I don't have. Listen, you know what I'm. Hey, listen. He said, Jesus. I don't. This is what I'm gonna say. I'm not against people engaging in whatever type of sexual acts they want to, long as it's not taking anything from anyone else, or long as it's not messing with kids. Whatever you want to do that's your personal business. I don't care about that. That's a liberal way of thinking. And it's even conservative. They just act like they're not. They just, oh, I would never do that. Next thing you know, this person comes out and you know what I mean?
But prostitution is against the law in a lot of states. And that's what it is. It's trafficking across state lines. So that's what it is. It's sexual trafficking. And
I get that. And I get that. All I'm saying is
you paying for somebody to go out with you on a date and you pay for their plane ticket is not sex trafficking.
But they consider that, though. It's considered that if you pay for anything for this, that's why they tell you. I'm trying to tell you, it's to the letter of the law. It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. That's why they tell you now. Hey, don't pay for anyone's because it can be considered that it's a payment in exchange for whatever it was. If you guys talked about what you're going to do when she gets there, that's a payment in exchange for it. They'll call it that. That's what I'm saying. They weren't saying that he took something from somebody. They're saying that this is what he did, and that he also did pay them for the services. That's different. It's a little bit different. It adds another layer onto it. It does. So it gets them for that. You know what I mean? But when we talk, I feel like they talk about him, but he gets no bail. But they got the guy Abercrombie and Finch who literally was taking people, and you heard about him. He literally took people and they were turning them into like sex trafficking people, raping.
I saw what you put out the other day. I watched what you put out the other day, and I went and read the article about him. I was like, holy shit.
And why is he out on bail? And Diddy is not. And then Diddy's not even accused of the same thing.
I know, because you got to remember, how long did Diddy stay out of the country prior to getting arrested? Yeah, he was out of the country for a long time. Yeah, he was. He was out of the country for a couple months.
No, he turned himself in.
No, prior to his arrest. I know, but prior to his arrest, he was out of the country under suspicion. They were already looking at him and trying to get something on him.
They came to his airport when he had. They came to the airport. They arrested his assistant or something for because the assistant had like a little bit of drugs on him or something like that. Because they searched him, arrested his assistant for having a little bit of drugs on him. They could have took him. He asked him, "Am I under arrest?" He stayed at his LA home. It's not because of the flight risk side of it. I'm telling you, they're trying to act like he's a risk to like tamper with witnesses or something like that. This dude actually has international around the world been taking whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Taking dudes from all over in several different countries, forcing them to do whatever they, and it just, to me, it's like they're willing to throw him under the bus for something, but they're not willing to look at.
I think it's more than that. I think the government wants him to roll, and they want to get. I really do. I think they're keeping him in there, sweating him out, and making him stay there without bail. I think they have more on it than just the parties. I think there's more involved than just the parties. There's probably tax evasion. There's probably all money laundering. There's probably all kinds of shit that they probably have on them.
I mean, but they're not charging him with it though. But then, I mean, it's like, we'll charge him because you just charge this other guy with 40 more cases. 40 more dudes just got charged right here. You know what I mean? He's still free as a bird. To me, that's like a more of a. Now he's saying he got dementia, so now he might not even go to jail for it. None of it, because he got dementia now. It's factual. You know what I mean? So that's just, to me, it's like, make it fair. Make it fair on both sides. If this person did this, if Diddy did what they say he did, then it's a wrap, buddy. It's time to go to jail and do your time. If this guy over here, I think for sure he did what he did. I think that's for easy case, cut and dry. You know what I mean? Like, hey, he's got 40 more dudes just came out and said, this is crazy. They had a BDP.
But see, I have to give Diddy credit for one thing. He kept the people at Johnson & Johnson in business. A lot of jobs came out of that.
Hey, people, they were making fun of his baby oil for a while. Now I was like, he's a rich guy. They're probably like, he probably doesn't use. Everyone in his house probably doesn't even use the same toothpaste. They're like, you know what? We're not sharing toothpaste. You got your own bottle of toothpaste. He has a party. Everyone got their own bottle. Hey, I'm just saying, rich people have weird parties, but so do politicians, man. Politicians have weird parties.
Politicians are freaks. Look at Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz is a freak.
and he ain't in jail either, is he? But his buddy's in jail. Yeah, and they had evidence
He
on
didn't
him.
know
that
she was 17. He
He
was
sent her
17.
money. He sent her
Is it-
money for you know what I mean? He gave her drugs. You look at Lindsey Graham. We've heard stories about Lindsey Graham. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough.
Lindsey, come on. He's straight laced, man.
Lady G.
He
Lady
might be
G.
gay, but he's straight laced.
I mean, I'm not against him being gay. I don't even care if he is gay.
I don't care.
That's my thing. I don't care. You can do whatever you want to do. Whatever this is what I say, even about school. I know we're kind of jumping all over the place right now, having a regular conversation, which is good. But even in school, I'm like, you know what? I don't care if in school, I think they should teach heterosexual, you know what I mean? Male and female. They should teach male and male. They should teach female and female. That's normal. Okay, cool. I know people who are gay. I don't care. That's a normal thing. Anything else you do outside of that is your own personal, I call them paper bag games. That's what you do.
That part I don't really agree with. I don't think you teach homosexuality. I don't think you teach bisexuality. That's something outside of school. What you teach is the physical part of sex. This happens here. This is what happens when you do this. But I don't think that's a parent's job is to teach that. That's not a school's job.
No, dude, I mean, I'm not saying teach it as being like, hey, we're gonna. I think saying that these things do happen. These things.
Yeah, I don't agree with that because that's a parent's job. That's not a school's job. A parent's job is to teach a child that, hey, there's this thing called homosexuality where two men or two women can be together. That's teaching them at home. That's not anywhere. That's why, you know, like the Alexandria, Virginia thing, the school district up there, they got in a lot of trouble because of that shit. And because they shouldn't be teaching, no school should ever teach something that a parent should be teaching them. They should be teaching them English, math, science, social studies.
So ed should not be taught in school at all.
No. Sex ed, meaning you teach them the physical part of sex ed. Like when I was a kid, it was this is a penis, this is a vagina. Okay, this is what happens when blood engorges, blah 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 blah. You know, whatever. It should be the physical part of the sexuality piece. But when it comes to relationship, when it comes to teaching your children what that parent believes, because if I'm a parent, I'm not overly religious by any means. I'm not. In fact, I'm not really religious at all. But I do believe that if a parent has a right to teach their kids the way they think they should be taught.
Absolutely.
There should be nothing in the school that teaches them that if they feel a certain way, they should change their gender. And we're not going to tell them
that's different. That's different. I think that's way outside of the pale.
That's happening, and that's part of why
I agree.
That's part of why the left is in the
out of touch. Right now. I would say that's the out of touch part. That's why I brought all this up, because when you brought up the out of touch part, I think that's where people are starting to get to the point to where they're like, but I don't. My personal opinion on it is that I think that for a long time in this country, we lived with people having to be like afraid to be who they are. In this country, they're afraid for a long time. Now, I can't look at me and say I'm innocent and all that. I think that I grew up a certain kind of way where I'm like, I'm anti certain things because of what I was taught versus what I actually had opportunity to learn myself. And I think that the way that we treated it in this country for a long time made people suicidal. I think it made them afraid to be who they are. I think it created more problems than what it and it created the problem that we have now for the whip around that we're getting right now.
We are in a different generational society. I mean, we are not like I grew up in the 80s. It was not okay to be gay in the 80s.
Absolutely.
Because
90s, 2000s, early 2000s.
Well, part of it was because of AIDS. Right, the advent of AIDS
before that, you know what I mean? Before that, even though I think that people were like, I think this has been a long time. This has like been forever. I couldn't imagine. Honestly, they're probably. I mean, when you look at it, those people probably were some of the toughest people that you could, because they probably had to fight their entire lives every day of it.
But the problem exists today is. Yeah, I hate to use this word, but I'm going to use it anyway. Woke, right? Because I know it means something completely different now, right? Because it was never intended to be what it is today. right?
It's
It
been
never was.
associated that, but it's been associated that way to things that is not, but it's being used as a scapegoat because everyone talks about it. You guys need to wake up.
I don't call it woke.
I got you.
I don't call it woke because it's not really woke. Woke is something completely different than what's going on today.
They're trying to,
they're trying to hijack the word, right?
I don't think they're even trying to. I think the people who are trying to use it as a negative are trying to hijack the word. You know what I mean? I think
because people on the left use it too.
I think of it like
they sit there. Oh yeah, Tim Walz said it the other day.
I heard Kamala Harris say it one day too. I'm woke, but being woke has nothing to do with your gender. And it's like crazy.
No.
I know
it has nothing to do with gender. It has to do with a lot of social issues.
Or even
what woke means now.
I think that what it started out meaning was knowing that the history we were taught in this nation is not true. That's what woke it meant before. It meant like what we were being taught in school, what I was taught in school, Christopher in 1492, Columbus sailed, blah, 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 all the stuff that you taught me about what this history is of this nation, who I am, what I came, everything like that was not true. These are lies. So you're awoke to what it really is.
Okay. Let's before you start calling it lies. Okay. It wasn't. I don't look at it as lies as much as I look at it as we didn't know. Okay. We didn't know the Vikings were here before Columbus. We didn't know that back when I was a kid. I never heard that
because they made the books because they created these curriculums to keep that information away from it. They knew that it's all the parts in all these museums. It wasn't like they just discovered this. They didn't just discover this. They knew this for all this time. They knew
it wasn't put out there. It wasn't put out.
They didn't because they created curriculum. It's because they created curriculum in order to be able to control and train the minds of the people to tell you that you're this, and you're this. This is what this was. This is intentional. Education is intent. It was done with intent. The way it was done.
It was, especially with
when
segregation.
When you look at like,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. When you look at in Columbus's, I think it was his like first mate or something. In his journal, it says that when they met the natives, and this was probably when he met the natives, even on the because he came into was at the Virgin Islands or something like that. He came into that's where they actually.
I think it was Hispaniola.
Yes, they met them. And they said, hey, because they had arrow tips that were the same arrow tips that they found that were found in like Ghana and in Africa, and it made out of gold. Carved the same. He said that the people were dark skinned. They said they had met dark skinned people. The natives explained them. They met dark skinned people who came here before them and traded with these arrow tips with them before this even happened. This was in his journals. This is all history that's there. It's all out there. They just don't talk about it. They just didn't want to talk about these things. It was a control. It's like when we watch TV, we only have 4 channels before. So it's easy for them to control our minds. That's when we talk about these kids. It's almost like we're saying things that are negative about them, but they just know so much more than what we ever had. MASH came on at 12 o'clock at night every night. Right? I mean, that's what came on every night. That's what came on. You know what I mean? So it was like, what did we really know? They kept us controlled for a long time, which we woke up when we got a chance to start saying, hey, this isn't true. This didn't happen. This is, that was the awakening. And now they're trying to use it for like, you can't wake me up to say I need to use the same bathroom as everybody else. That's not waking me up because I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the kind of woke that I'm ever going to.
Well, like I said, I think there's a big problem from on the left where they are so hell-bent on trying to teach kids in school social issues, social justice, whatever you want to call it. That's not their job. A school teacher's job is to teach. It's not about, we're not teaching a damn philosophy class in college. We're teaching arithmetic. We're teaching social studies. We're teaching math. Right? Mm-hmm. We're teaching science. That's it. That's all you should be teaching. Because we have a hard enough time getting our kids to learn anything today to begin with. I've got 2 teachers in my family and have told me that it's incredibly hard to teach a child today because of
phones.
This.
Yep. And parents.
Because they don't want to, and the parents don't want to, they don't care enough.
But no accountability.
It is not a teacher's right. It is the parent's right to teach their kids what they should know about the world in general. It's not a teacher's right to tell the kid that, hey, if you want to be a boy or if you want to be a girl,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to me.
You don't
know what I
have
mean?
to
Like,
tell mommy and daddy.
This is why I don't care how many podcasts or whatever Gavin Newsom ever does. I will never vote for him. I don't care. They better not ever let him become the leader of the try to be a major party leader, not the Democrat.
What do you think? What do you think he's doing right now? Why do you think he's doing that podcast?
I know, because he's trying to. That's why he had Charlie Kirk on his first show. He's trying to make himself more palatable to the masses. He's trying to. I'm never going to forget that you came in. You did a couple different things.
And is that a slap in the face? Is that a slap in the face to liberals that he's doing that? To be honest with yourself, is that really? If I was a liberal, if I was on the left, if I was lean left, I'd be pissed because he's doing that to pander. He's pandering.
I think at the same time though, it's like we have to use the same approach when we talk about. He speaks to liberals 24/7. That's who all the people he's speaking to. I won't call it pandering more than the fact because it wasn't like a pandering approach that he took to the conversation. It was more of a, this is my point of view. This is what I didn't even watch it. But I saw clips of it. You know what I mean?
I listened to the Charlie Kirk one.
Yeah, and I think that he's using the approach of like, hey, I only speak to people in my state. How would I ever be able to run nationwide if I do not speak to someone else? I think that's what he's doing more than anything else. That doesn't mean I like him. I don't care if he can talk to whoever he wants to.
I think, to be honest with you, he had more of a presence than Kamala Harris did.
Oh, absolutely.
Because Kamala Harris was so stuck in the background. She was so stuck in the background behind Biden that he tried to put her out there, but she just didn't do well.
I think if she would have,
I think he was more popular than she is.
I think popular on the West Coast. I think the West Coast people over in this area might like him, but I think with the laws that he's come up with, it'll be impossible. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah. Did you see the electoral map? It's only the East Coast. It's only the West Coast that vote blue. I mean, you very seldom see.
No, wait. You got one. You got one. You got one. You got one. We're not gonna say that this is a normal thing. You know what I mean? Because you normally don't get Michigan. Pennsylvania is purple most times. You normally don't get Wisconsin. You normally are not getting even Arizona has become more purple.
You got it in 2016.
Which one? You got what in 2016?
Didn't we get
Wisconsin? I don't think you got Wisconsin. I don't think so. I think Wisconsin even went. I don't think so. I'm not sure though. I can't say that for sure. But I this is the first time I've seen Wisconsin red in a long time. I don't think I've ever. Not in my lifetime. Not that I know of. But I don't think I don't know. But I don't think Hillary got blown out that bad. But she didn't win Georgia. Because Georgia is pretty much a purple state right now. It might be blue. North Carolina, Virginia, so we got it.
You want to see the 2016 map, man?
Go ahead and show me a 2016 map. Let me see it. Okay, so he got Wisconsin. He got Wisconsin. Yeah. I'll give you that one. Wisconsin's kind of purple. It's purple. You know what I mean? That's why they're trying to get that Supreme Court justice over there in Wisconsin right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So because it is kind of
that's a lot of money going into that thing. Oh my
gosh!
Listen,
you can say that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I saw the guy this morning. I watched that Shannon Bream show, the Fox News Sunday, and they interviewed that guy. Evidently, and I don't know if this is true. $30 million for ads against him. That is a butt ton of money, and it's not just that. They're trying to do it in Florida too. They're close to getting those 2 seats in Florida. That's why they kept Stefanik out of being the UN ambassador, because the right is worried about losing these seats, and they have every right to worry about it.
As you guys are buying elections right now, it's crazy. But listen, it's kind of what's happening. I mean, you look at it like this. I mean,
we're buying elections.
Buying elections, man. Elon Musk is offering $1 million. What is he saying to people? I'm going to give away $1 million a week. This guy come on. We got to look at Elon for. Let's not forget what Elon said about. I mean, not as blatant. I've never seen George Soros before in my life. Never. I've never seen him.
He doesn't just buy elections.
Have you seen him before? Have you seen him?
Yeah.
I've never seen the guy.
He doesn't just buy. He buys district attorneys.
Hey, he's like Al Heyman. Have you ever heard of Al Heyman, the boxing guy?
Yeah.
I've never seen the guy before ever in my life. You don't even know if he's even a real person. They talk about Soros, like, who is this guy? Where is he at? He's smart.
Really?
Stay in the background. I've heard of George Soros. Yeah, of course. But I've never seen him. I've never seen him in my life. I've seen his like nephew or someone.
No, it's his son.
Yeah, I've seen that guy, but I've never seen him.
His son is now taking over for him.
Yeah, but you know how this goes, though. Donor. But you got to look at Sheldon Adelson. You know what I mean? Look at him. He was saying, but okay. Now let's not forget with Elon Musk. Because you said that you guys were deplorables and all that stuff, right? What did Elon Musk call you guys? And I don't remember. I don't hear. Oh, I'm sure you don't. I don't remember. I don't really pay attention to him very much. That dude said the worst possible stuff that you could say to a person. He was like, you guys are retards, all kinds of stuff. You're stupid, you're too dumb. That's this, that, and the third. He said MAGA. This is what he said. He said MAGA. This is what he had directed at them, and now people will still like praise him. And I just can't understand how this happens.
I think he's a very smart guy. That's all I think about him. You know, he created a decent car, which I'll never own because I believe in internal combustion engines. And you know, I just don't. I will never own an electric vehicle.
I'm not against it. I'm not against it at all. I think that they'll end up making. I think I believe that. I believe.
But why do you think? Okay, so now you brought that up where he said that. Why do you think he's doing what he's doing now? And don't tell me it's because he's getting money back from the government, because he's losing a shit ton of money. Shit ton. This is what I'm gonna say. Okay, even when they say Trump lost money when he first ran for office, do we understand what network and do we know what he's okay? Let's listen to this. Okay, he can lose $100 billion. This is all stock numbers. This is all numbers. We really know how this thing turns out. Okay, but if I can go over and I can tell this president to say, hey, why don't you give us what did he call him? He called them raw earth minerals. He's like, can you give me your raw earth minerals? He didn't even know the name of it. But you know what he's asking for? Because you know who he's asking for? Let's be honest. This is why he wanted Ukraine's raw earth minerals. He didn't even know what it was. Know why he doesn't know? Huh? It's cobalt. It's cobalt. I know, but I'm saying that's a raw earth mineral. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways. But do you understand what I'm saying? I know. But I mean, you need so this is so on top. But okay, now you create tariffs. A lot of it, the most in the entire world. They have most in the world. Yeah. But if you can go get a whole bunch of it from Ukraine, who's that going to help out? Now I'm not beholden to these guys over here who already have me wrung by the tail. Okay, now on top of that, if I can say, hey, put tariffs on every car that's not made in America, who makes their cars all in America? What car company is going to benefit the most from this? Already been said. Every economist said the same thing. Tesla. They're going to benefit the most from all the other companies being slap tariffs on their cars. It's a fact. Oh, if I can now say, hey, I run the presidency. Every other oligarch out of all the car companies that produce vehicles in the United States, American car companies, where does Tesla stand on that? They're number one. Got to be. No, they're number one. The Tesla model, like the something, whatever that's number one selling car in America. It's the truth. The fact you can over any Toyota, over all of them. Yeah, he has the number one selling car in America. I think. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know that either. I had no clue either. Honestly, I didn't. You can look it up. I promise you. It's weird but he only has one model of it. But then it's like a Toyota something else right after that, 2 Toyotas right after that. Then there's like I think a Ford something, and then like a Chevy Silverado's on the list too. Then they have a few other German cars. But yeah, he's number one. It's weird. I had no idea. You know what I mean? I had no idea. No, it's the F-150. It's the number one selling car in America? In America. Yep. You sure about that? The Ford F-Series, particularly the F-150, continues to dominate as the best-selling vehicle in the United States. I got this chart right here. I don't know if maybe this chart was for the world then. I got a chart right here. That's Edmunds.com. And Edmunds is a car vehicle company magazine thing. I believe you. If that's what it says, I believe you. But I know that I just saw a list recently that listed I can't remember where I got the list from. That listed like it was like Tesla Model T was like the number either it's a number one selling car in the world or it's the number one selling car in America. I can't remember for sure. Tesla Model Y is number
Is it-
3.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong
Then
on that one.
It's Ford F-150, Chevy Silverado, Tesla Model Y, RAV4, Honda CR-V, Toyota Camry. So they are number 3.
Okay, and that's just in America, correct?
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe I'm thinking worldwide. Maybe that's what that's what that chart was for. Maybe.
Yep.
I'll look back on it. I'll come back on that list. But yeah, I mean, so to me, a Tesla shouldn't even be on the list. Honestly, I didn't think that they would even make the list as one of the number one selling cars because there are price points on them when you look at it. But I think that he has the most to gain. I mean, we can say that he's going to lose money, but
it is number 1 in the world.
Okay, that's what the list was
Model
for.
Y. The Model Y.
Because then on the list, Chevy's like way down. There's a Chevy on there, Silverado or something.
Yeah, they're gonna
they're
be
on
low.
there somewhere.
American
But
cars are gonna be low.
But they were in like the top like 10 though. It was a Ford had one in the top 10, which I think was the F-150 or whatever, and the Chevy had one in the top 10. And then you had a couple German makers, and I think BYD was on that list as well too. That's a Chinese electric car vehicle that was on that list as well.
Yeah,
and so that's the list I'm talking about.
Which I have heard, is better than the Tesla.
I mean, did you see that? Have you seen the we did a segment on back a while ago. Did a segment on Chinese electric vehicles and how they're subsidized, and they can sell their vehicles for $30,000 cheaper. Because they're subsidizing. I mean, that's when I believe in government subsidies for our companies here. When other countries are doing it, we need to make sure.
We tried that. We tried that with electric vehicles. We even tried them with hybrids, but it never took off.
I think because they
didn't have. I mean, we don't have the infrastructure to have a mass electric car blowout.
It's because we're so spread apart as a nation too. Like with me, I you go certain places, they have markets everywhere on every corner. Like here, I got to drive a little distance. I mean, there's no walking around here.
I mean, you look at who owns Teslas. There are people that live in cities, right?
Yeah.
They're not people that live out in the country because you don't have a vehicle yet that can really handle a long distance drive without having to. I mean, they're coming.
I think BYD just build one. They said 5 minutes.
You don't have anything in the United States yet that has the capability of driving, 500 miles on tank like you can on a tank of gas, because you got to stop. You got to recharge. You got to wait.
Most people aren't even driving that. I mean, they said BYD is going for they got a model right now they'll go 250 miles on a 5 to 8 minute charge.
I heard. I remember you talking about that.
I mean, they're changing the game over there pretty much in China. I mean, but a lot of their stuff I look at is like they don't have a bunch of regulations, so they might burn and blow up, and all kinds of stuff can happen. They'll release something and won't care kind of what happens. That's why we say they said they'll kill you.
I think we have much better standards here in the United States when it comes to our vehicle safety. I mean,
pretty soon
that's a given.
Pretty soon, that's a wrap, though. All these regulations, they're pulling apart all these different places. We're calling them big government, when in reality, they're protecting the people. Like all these consumer agencies that he's pulling down. I mean, it's not about. It's a big government isn't just about overseeing the people. It's overseeing corporations a lot of times too, making sure they're doing the right thing. All these consumer protection places are stopping banks from having any kind of
I'm going to tell you, even Democrats believe that they are overregulating, that the government is overregulated. Democrats. It came out today. I was watching Mark Warner on Fox say that they overregulate. That's part of the reason why they lost.
I think the biggest reasons why they lost is they did not allow her to be herself. If she could have came out and said, if it were me and I were telling her this is what I thought, not that I'm but I would have told her, I say, you know what? You should be able to come out and say, when they ask you, do you think that if there's anything you would have changed in the last administration, she should have said that she would have changed their approach to Israel with how that played out, because that looked very, very bad.
She said nothing.
Nothing. And the second thing that she should have said is that we should have made sure we tried with the Inflation Reduction Act, but I should have come in and stepped in as corporations price gouged consumers on groceries. We should have stepped in on that and done something about that. And I would do something about that as president of the United States. She should have said those two things, and it would have made her seem You know, instead of saying, "Oh no, there's nothing I would have done differently." Well, man,
Do you know
people are
how much money has been spent out of the $42 billion to create internet connect? We talked about this earlier. An internet connection for everybody in the United States. You know how much money has been spent out of that $42 billion?
How much?
Zero.
How many people do you know who don't have internet?
I know quite a lot. Rural
I don't know
people
anybody.
do not have internet, man. Rural people, because you don't live in the sticks. I mean,
I got you. I give you that.
That's,
I mean, where I live at is I got a weak signal up here. I do.
That is a key disconnect that you guys on the left have, because you don't know what happens to the rest of the country. You don't care about the people that live in Oklahoma or Nebraska or any of those places that vote red every year, because it doesn't matter.
I care.
You think
I
they're
care.
all wrong.
No,
You
I don't
even
think
know
they're
that.
wrong.
You're like, I don't know anybody without internet.
I bet you that's like 4% of the country doesn't have internet. Something minute. I bet you if we look at it, it's probably like I'm not gonna say.
But you know what? But here's
it's such a small percentage of the country. It's like.
But the problem with that is you are affecting everybody, especially children. You're affecting the way because they can't learn. If
So
they don't have access to
the government's job right there to do that, to give them access to internet. So now you're big big government.
No. Hold on. That's what Biden wanted. That was a Biden era. That was a Biden era thing.
And I believe in that too. I believe they should have done it. I'm not against it. I'm for it. I'm just asking you.
That's the problem.
I'm asking you. They should have gotten that done. I don't know why they didn't get it done. I don't know what happened. I guarantee if you'd have passed the money out,
I think they should have done that. Yes. You know why?
They should have done
because we don't have in this country enough choice when it comes to there's only 2 or 3 places I can get internet from where I live, and I live just south of Atlanta. You know, and because there's places that go, well, you can't sell here because of this, and this regulations.
Yep.
It's regulations, man.
I mean, is it regulations or is it just monopoly? A lot of it's monopoly more than it is regulations. They're monopolizing.
Some people can't sell in certain regions. Like I can AT&T, Uverse, whatever you want to call it, is up in Atlanta. I can't get them to come down here. They won't allow them down here. And we have way small. It's a money thing.
It's probably because of the smaller guys are paying off your officials around here, paying them off to keep. It's like some places you go. There's a place up here called Forks, right? For a long time, they wouldn't allow them to have McDonald's even come there. They weren't allowed to have any kind of like major.
Is that Arizona?
No,
it's Arizona?
Washington. It's Washington. They wouldn't allow them to have like Walmarts, nothing like that, because they knew that once they came in, all the small people are done. It's over. All the mom and pops are over. So they wouldn't allow them in there.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of times it's regulation based off of people who we vote for and put them in power.
It's survival.
Yeah,
it's survival.
I would do the same as a businessman. I would do the same thing. If it were my small business somewhere and I could pay the guy off to keep these people out of here, I'm gonna do it too. That's just I get it.
I mean, okay, so the 2 out of the 3 that we can get,
I don't agree though.
Pretty big. They're pretty big. They're not small potatoes. Cable internet companies. They're not, but they are not as big as AT&T. They're not as big as Verizon. They're not, but they're still decent size. They're the biggest, but they're not the baddest on the block. But but the problem is you have people out there, and you guys say you're for this and you're for that, but you don't do it. You don't actually follow through. You don't follow through with what you want to do.
I think that if we look at, we don't get. I don't think they've given out. People aren't given enough time on our side of the aisle. From when I've been around, you look at it like this. Clinton came in. He did a lot of good stuff. I won't say Clinton was a great president, but he did a lot of good things. He did a lot of bad things. I feel like there were some things he did that were pretty negative. Then you got Bush came in and ran their economy into the ground, shook up the earth, got us into 2 wars. And now you got Obama, and his whole first term, even into his second, was cleaning up the mess that this guy made. But then I lose the
House, did it.
I lose the Senate.
I never did it. 8 years, I never did it.
He didn't fix the economy.
I'm going to close down Guantanamo Bay.
Everything. I mean, listen, I'm not saying that, hold on. Chad said something here, something about a bribe or something. He said, no way, they're kind of, I don't know. but listen, do I think that, Do I think he did many things that he should have done? Yeah. Do I think he made a lot of mistakes too? Yes. But I'm talking about just from a social economic standpoint. Democrats come in and they do the right thing. The economy gets on the right track. It gets to growing. He had a good 8 years. Could have had better had he had more of the House and the Senate on his side. After 2 years, he lost the House, and then he lost the Senate or something like that. Right shortly thereafter, he was done. He was a lame duck president for 6 years, period of his term. He just was.
Do you think is 9.4% inflation a good economic?
Are we talking about who are we talking about? Are we talking about Biden?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we don't want to talk about why Biden got 9.4. We don't want to talk about why he had that.
Oh,
he didn't know it was presidency. Do we want to talk about? Okay, but we want to talk about Trump. Do we know what's the major cause? What's the lead cause of inflation?
COVID.
What's the lead cause of inflation, though? Inflation in general. Government spending. Oh, so are we going to say that the cause of
COVID,
Obama having to go through everything he went through was the
COVID
financial crisis? Oh, I mean, we can't. We have to do. You have to take on whatever comes your way. It's your presidency. You're the boss. It's you got to hold it. It is what it is.
But okay,
he had to hold Ukraine. Biden held Ukraine. Yeah, he had to hold it. He didn't.
Ukraine
war.
Yeah,
he had to hold it. He didn't start the Ukraine war. He started the Ukraine war.
Trump didn't start.
I didn't say Trump. All I'm saying is that the fact that whatever comes under your presidency, you have to hold it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that he started or Trump started or anything.
Right.
Whatever is your presidency, that's your presidency. We expect you to be accountable for. I do.
Now,
that's who I am.
Now, why is it that you can sit there and say that? Okay, but you also have to understand that we were in a place that we've never been before as a modern country. Because back when whatever it was, yellow fever or whatever the hell it was back in the early 1900s.
Yeah, you okay. Oh, but
modern. I'm a modern country with the scientific advances of today. That we got hoodwinked into thinking we had to stay home, and we're made to stay home and shutter businesses and all that crap.
There were a lot of other countries that made it out of it a lot better than what we did because we did not handle the situation the correct way. That's just my whole entire. He did not handle it the correct way. When you see something like that, he could have contained it. There's a way of containing things like that, but he just said, no, it's not real, and let it just get wildfire because COVID was definitely real. COVID was definitely a real thing.
I do not want any more planes coming in from China. Well, God damn it. You're a racist and a xenophobe, President Trump.
Okay, was that going to stop COVID from coming into this country? No more planes from China.
Stop COVID coming into this country.
Okay, so when it came in here, but you could have.
You can't contain that. You can't contain it. How are you
other countries contain that very, very well? When just the precautions they put in place, shutting down areas.
Do they have 400 million people living in their country? No.
China got more people than that. They got like 1.4
China did
billion.
Not contain it.
Yeah, they contained it.
They forced people to stay home and killed them.
Oh, we got to use killed them. We don't know if they killed anybody. You see somebody get killed? Did you see? I'm gonna tell you this. I know they dropped the building.
All right, you lost that argument earlier today because DMAC, we were 2-1 against you, and you know that's true.
No, listen, they dropped the building. They dropped the building on a bunch. They did kill some people. Remember that building that they collapsed? Yeah. There was a building that they totally collapsed. They said everyone was COVID.
Listen, I do think I will blame Trump for one thing. Okay, listening to the scientists that he had working for him. I do think they ran us down the wrong path. Do I think it could have been handled better? Oh yeah, 100%. But it could have been handled in Biden's administration too. I think had Biden had said, everything needs to be open, kids need to go back to school, and they didn't do that. And I think both administrations are
by the time Biden got in office, he didn't. Okay, we got to remember this. Let's say it like this: Biden didn't get into office until January 2021. So it's a school year. Okay, the school year it came in March 2020. The next school year starts again in August, September. Even if you didn't,
but they weren't open yet.
But even if you don't start the school year until halfway through the year, that's the halfway mark in a school year is like December.
Yep.
Right. So they were start by the time he came January 20th, he gets into office.
Yeah.
They came back to school by that time. Kids were back in school by that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so he's
I'd have to check that.
He's governing over like the the residual effects of whatever happened before. He's governing over that. I'm not going to say that I didn't like the fact when he came out and said
that's not Trump's fault. The schools being closed was not Trump's fault. The teachers not wanting to work was the union's fault for that. Randy Weingarten and the teachers union are the ones that mandated those schools stay closed.
Let me ask you this question real quick. I wonder what the average age is for teachers. I bet you they're probably in their 50s, maybe older, maybe. You know,
I'd say late 30s, early 40s is probably the mean average.
I'm gonna look it up real quick while we're talking. Just to see.
Exactly. I'm gonna do the same thing.
Because even if they're that may be a reasoning to why. You know, so that's kind of what I would think. That may be a reasoning to why.
42 years old.
I mean, so that's an average age. I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to look for. Is it possible? You're right. I'll give you that one. You're right. But 42 years old. I mean, you're getting to that point to where I caught COVID. I never went and got confirmed, but I felt like I was really sick. I was probably sicker than I've ever been before in my life. Like, you know, like, but it wasn't even sick, like an actual like cough or anything like that. It was more of like my body hurt. I, felt like pins in your body. You know what I mean? Like on my legs, I couldn't sit down. Certain kind of. I mean, it was like I thought to myself, if I was 70 years old, I'd probably just want to die. I'd probably just, if I was like 70, 80, I'd probably want to just be finished with this. You know what I mean?
And, one thing I have to chastise the left on was the vaccine. When Trump tried to get the vaccine out there, if you don't give him credit for trying to do warp speed, then I think everybody's wrong on that. Okay. But the issue with the vaccine was it's a Trump vaccine. Can't trust it. Don't take it.
Wait.
That happened.
You remember what Biden said? No. You remember what Biden said? I'm getting impatient. I'm getting impatient.
Said,
I never took the vaccine.
I'll pull up the quote. You want me to pull up the quote that Biden said on national TV about the vaccine? I remember. He doesn't trust Trump.
I remember him saying that he was getting impatient with people not taking the vaccine. He was getting rid of people out of the military. They were making people who I know pay money because they didn't take the vaccine. So they were taking money out of their checks, out of the checks that they got, from work about not taking. That was under the Biden. That's one thing I don't agree with. That to me that's a far reach right there. Because I never took it. They were stopping people from being able to take certain flights, certain places, all kinds of stuff, which I didn't agree with. I didn't agree with that.
They got rid of so many people in the military because they didn't want to take it.
That was stupid. That was dumb.
It was.
That was dumb.
I mean, you can't force people to do it. You can't force people to
I don't even know what's in it. I'm not taking something I don't even know. Like,
I will say, I'll be honest, I took the first one and I took a booster. But that was it. Once I found out that these things had consequences, I wasn't taking it anymore.
I'm not taking it. I'm like, man, I'm not taking this. I refuse. I'm not taking it.
But you had people like Rachel Maddow sit there and tell people, if you take it, you'll never get COVID. They didn't know. But yet you're spewing shit out, but yet you want to blame Trump for saying some of the things that he said, but you're telling people this shit's gonna work.
He said some crazy stuff.
It never did.
Trump came in there and said it worked. He was like, showed everybody it worked for him. That's what he came out. He said, I don't know, warp speed. He got the vaccine out there. I think they didn't even care. The vaccine probably wasn't even real. They're like, you know what? We think it works.
It's like a sugar cube. There's so much blame to be put around there. I mean, it's not going to come out for years because, like this stuff with Fauci recently, where they're saying that he knew about it. Yeah, I mean, why would you give him? Why would you give somebody who you think's innocent a preemptive pardon?
I think because they would have went after him. I think if I'm Biden, I'm doing the same thing.
Right to.
I think if I'm Biden, I'm doing the same thing across the board for my family because I see they went after his son for saying that he was an addict and he got a gun. He never even had a crime. He was never even committed a crime in his life. But because they said you were an addict, when you went and signed for this gun, that's a crime. And I'm going to.
He also lied on his taxes. I mean, he lied on his taxes.
A lot of people lie on their taxes,
Yeah,
man.
that's
A lot of
right.
people lie on their taxes. I bet you Trump lied on his taxes 100,000 times. I mean, look at the people he's working with. Cohen, you know what I mean? That guy right there, he ain't the most scrupulous. I ain't see, I think everyone probably lies on their taxes at some point in time, some way or
he opened. So you got to understand there's going to be, people are going to use people to get advantage, right? Trump tried to use the Hunter Biden. I mean, they tried to use the Russia thing to get Trump, right? Trump used the Hunter Biden thing to get it Biden. The DOJ didn't. They said, they had 51 people say it was a hoax and the laptop wasn't real. And
I heard about that too.
And that was right before the election. That actually might have had something to do with turning the election. But I'm not saying that. I'm not. But because they all said it for the Hillary Clinton thing is why she lost the elections when Comey said that, came out and said that, right?
I think people are going to vote for her, but yeah, go ahead.
You're going to have it on both sides. People use it. Now you can't. I don't like people that are hypocrites. Okay, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is, well, you did this and they did this. Well, you know what? They did that 4 years ago. Okay, so I mean, you can't. You can make a point, but there's always a counterpoint.
Absolutely.
Always.
I agree.
Always is. And and that's why it's so much fun talking to you, because you make your points and they are great points.
Absolutely. Vice versa.
But the thing is, I can cut your legs out from underneath you by saying this, right?
It's crazy because and it's crazy because it's like half of the stuff that we make in counterpoints to each other is based off of what other people think. It's not based off of what we actually think. It's based off of what someone else did. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm trying to defend someone's point of view who I don't even agree with. I'm like, I don't even agree with this guy's point of view, but since you stand over on this side over here, I got to defend what you say, but I'm not going to defend it though half the time. I'm just not going. I'm going to sit back and say, no, I don't agree with that. I'm not going to, like I don't agree with them taking away gun rights and all this other kind of stuff. But I can't wait until me and you sit down for our, what we got going on and turn this into a regular basis. This is what's coming up next. I definitely appreciate your time as always. And I definitely look forward to
my pleasure. I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. So I've been look out for a civil discourse coming out soon. But thank you for your time today. And
same bad time, same bad channel.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon.
Take care.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.